What is up, everyone? Welcome to the first MM3D showcase. Sadly, the start was not even close to being optimal, so I still need to work on a few things, sadly. And there's sadly nothing I can do about it. I will need a little moment, hoping that it will be fixed in like no time. And actually, luckily, I should be good now. So let's go over to our layout, hoping that it's all working just fine. So welcome to the layouts, and still need a little bit of work on it, but we'll fix it. And I welcome my two commentators who are today ATZ and Purple Photon. So guys, welcome to the stream.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Alright, so yeah, we should be getting going in just a few minutes here. It should be a very close race though. MM versus MM3D Glitchless. So just a little bit of history between the two runs and kind of how they stack up. MM with TrevPerson, Trev's PB is a 246, which he actually got 7 days ago. And then Fox with a 255 that he got yesterday. So in terms of their PBs, MM is a little bit faster, but regardless, it should still be a very close race. And I guess, Trez, whenever you are ready, I can let the runners know. Oh, are you good?
Yep, we're good to go. There's still a little bit of stuff going on with Fox's layout, but I'm just working on it, so you can just start. It's fine.
Okay, I'm letting the runners know right now.
Also, I need to get Renobot back. Not Renobot. ZSR back in here. Alright. So that should be good. Yep. And just a little heads up, guys, on stream, the layout on the right side for Fox is a little adjusted, so you will see a little blurry effect that's not working on the menu, obviously. So it's 4x3, but the center is what's important about Fox, so yeah, we're good to go.
Alright, and the race
go.
just started. The runners should be going any second now. Yeah, there's Trev, and Fox should be following right behind. There we go. Alright. So, welcome again, everyone, to the MM versus MM3D Glitchless showcase between TrevPerson and Wayfaring Fox. I'm joined by Purple Photon on the commentary. So, Purple, go ahead and say hello.
Yeah. Gonna be a great race. Should be pretty close. Again, the time difference between Trev and Fox's PBs is less than 10 minutes. They also each have the world record, I believe.
They do,
in their
yes.
respective games.
Yep,
Yeah, gonna be a great race.
Yeah, both the top runs in their respective games should be some good quality gameplay on both ends here for sure. And as this race starts, unfortunately, we have to deal with the notorious Majora's Mask first cycle. So we have a lot of cutscenes that we're going to watch here. And unfortunately, it's not going to be till around 17, 18 minutes when we're going to get going. But we do have a few things we'll be able to mention during first cycle when we get there. But for now, just enjoy the cutscenes because that's really all we can do as we wait.
One thing you'll notice right off the bat is that Trev on MM is playing in Japanese, whereas Fox on 3D is going to be playing in English. I know for MM3D, the languages don't really matter because all the text is pretty fast. MM, I know there's some more version differences. I'm not sure if that really affects the route or not.
Yes, there are a few version differences. For one thing, The Deku Palace, the layout is a little bit different on English compared to Japanese. And additionally, Stone Tower Temple is also different. The layout there is different as well. Overall, Japanese is a little bit faster, primarily because of the text. And English actually saves some time back in places like Stone Tower, where the switch to reverse the tower is actually on the same side as the temple. Whereas on Japanese, Trev is actually going to have to hookshot all the way back to the owl statue to be able to flip the temple. So English will save some time there, but overall, as I said, Japanese does have the advantage, so that's why you're seeing Trev playing on Japanese for this race.
Yeah, with those differences in a couple places, such as Deku Palace, and I know in the where you get the hook shot for MM, where rooms like that differ between Japanese and English on MM3D actually has the Japanese version of those rooms for all versions. So you will see the both version, both you will see the same version of those rooms on both runners.
All right, and here we go. So Fox looking like he's going to get out of this cutscene a little bit faster than Trev. And there we go. Both going to backwalk in here, and
I just
right
noticed,
after they finish this, we're going to go straight into another cutscene.
Sorry, I just noticed that the blur effect is broken because OBS is being a dummy, so I'm working on it. It will be fixed really soon.
All right, so both runners getting through the first little bit of movement, nice and clean, and more cutscenes. So both of them are going to get the Deku Mask right here. So what can we expect, I guess, from MM3D after they get the Deku Mask and when they get into first cycle? What are the runners going to be doing?
So the goal, basically, once you get to Clocktown, is just to advance the time of day as quickly as possible. That goes for both versions. Yeah, they're going to be Fox is going to be collecting some rupees because he's going to want to buy the bomb bag in first cycle, and then he's just going to be getting magic and making his way up the clock tower once he can get in at midnight.
Yeah, and on the MM side, it's going to be pretty much the exact same thing. As you mentioned, Trev is going to immediately go to the inn. He's going to advance it to day 3, then go to the Scarecrow, advance it to night 3, grab his magic, grab a bomb bag. And a couple of the differences to look out for are that Fox will actually be depositing money into the bank to be able to use later in the run. And the reason for that is mostly just because the bank text is a lot faster. So Trev will not be doing that. And instead, he will have to get his money in other ways. And the other small difference is that Trev will not be able to access the owl statue. He can reach it, but he can't activate it. In MM3D, all you have to do is just interact with the owl statue, and it's immediately activated.
Yeah, another thing is the bank is no longer in West Clocktown across from the shops. It's actually in South Clocktown, right next to the owl. There's another bit of a minor difference. Not too big of a difference.
Yeah, I'm sure that actually ends up making routing a little bit more convenient throughout Clocktown.
Yeah.
All right, so both getting out of these cutscenes, and again, Fox with the little bit of an advantage coming out of the cutscene.
You'll notice that Fox is backwalking, and that's just because, for whatever reason, in MM3D, Deku spinning is incredibly slow. So even over very short distances, it's worth it to backwalk. Oh, and Trevor's backwalking too. Okay.
Yeah, it is also a little bit faster for Trev to backwalk there, but unlike MM3D and MM, Deku spinning is quite fast. But you can clearly see it if you're paying attention to Fox on the screen. When he does do a Deku spin, the speed is noticeably slower than if you compare it to Trev's side. So that is a very good thing to point out, where Fox is definitely going to be abusing backwalking a lot more. And a very nice side hop across the gap there by Fox.
Yeah. He was also able to skip a text trigger that you wouldn't otherwise get. by going past that Deku scrub thing.
Yeah, Trev is
I think
also going to go
Trevor's
for the
gonna,
same thing.
yeah.
So by side hopping directly onto the Deku Flower, he accomplishes the same thing of skipping the text trigger.
And just from text alone, pretty much at this point, you'll see how far Fox is already ahead of Trev.
Yeah,
The
MM3D
text in
definitely.
MM3D is really, really good.
Yeah, it's all fast text, whereas a lot of text in the early game here in MM is all going to be slow text, and all the characters are going to scroll individually. And that's the main thing that makes Japanese text faster, is that there are just less characters that have to be scrolled through.
In MM, it is actually possible to skip this cutscene with pause buffering. It's not allowed in Glitchless, though, which is sort of a good thing for a race against MM3D, because you can't skip this cutscene in MM3D.
Alright, Fox now out of the clock tower. And I believe the first thing he's going to do is go straight to Grandma to get to day 3.
Yep.
Alright, Fox going over here, doing a side hop up the ledge, and he's just going to go ahead and fly in here. Unfortunately, the stock pot in does not open until later in the day, so he has to use the flower here to get in. It's a little bit slower if you compared to if you were just able to walk straight in, but it's not too bad. And now Fox is just going to advance straight to day 3, and Trev is following closely behind right now on his way to stock pot in.
Now that Fox is at day 3, he's going to be making his way over to West Clocktown to the shop with the Scarecrow to make it night 3. And then from that point, he's just going to have to pretty much wait the last 6 hours until the clock tower opens. There's no way to skip farther ahead than that.
Yeah, fortunately for him, though, he does have to do a few things before the cycle ends, namely get the magic and also get his bomb bag. So he will be able to use that time. He's not going to be able to use all of it, but he'll be able to use some of it. And I believe another thing he's going to do is when he talks to the Scarecrow here, or right after, he's going to grab 1 rupee inside the trading post. And while that might seem a little bit weird, he's actually going to go ahead and deposit that rupee right away. And later on, he's going to deposit another 49 rupees. So with those 50, he's going to be able to use those later in the run. I believe that's used for a powder keg, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Alright, there he goes, getting his rupee. And Trev now right behind, talking to the Scarecrow. And both the runners are now on night 3 and have to do a little bit of waiting.
Yeah. One thing that might become apparent on night 3 is that the in-game time between the two games is not exactly running at the same rate right now. During first cycle in MM, time advances at 3/2 of the normal speed. Is it 3/2? No. I believe it's 5/3.
It's definitely faster
Yeah.
than normal time.
It's
I'm not sure of the exact rate, but
I think it's 3/2 because so I think it's 3/2 in MM and 5/3 for MM3D. Because yeah, MM3D is currently advancing at a faster rate. So Fox is just going to have to do a little bit less waiting than Trev in the end. That's all that means. The actual flow of time after first cycle is the same when uninverted between the two games.
Alright, and both runners going into the sock fight in to get this easy silver rupee. So this is going to be used for their bomb bag, which they're both going to buy shortly. And then the rest of the money, Trev is just going to waste it. In MM, the bank is a lot slower, so he's not going to take the time to use the bank like Fox will. But Fox will deposit the rest of that money, and he'll have an even 50 rupees for the powder keg later, as we mentioned.
Well,
So
the runners are kind of.
yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
you can go.
I was just gonna say, the unfortunate thing about getting those rupees is that time doesn't pass while they're going through loading zones and opening doors and things like that. Because right now the goal is to just have time pass as quickly as possible, but at the same time, they also need that bomb bag, and in Fox's case, he also needs that money for the powder keg later. So they do have to sacrifice that little bit of in-game time management in favor of getting the bomb bag and stuff like that, but in the end, it's gonna come out to be much faster overall. And Fox now passing Trev, who's just walking his way to the fairy fountain. Yeah, for real. Imagine not going up the slide. Just unforgivable. All right, so both the runners now getting their magic. And right after this, they're going to go straight for their bomb bags, I would imagine. Then after that, pretty much all they can do is just wait. They are, I believe they're both about 3 hours away, so a couple minutes of waiting. And then we should be on our way and out of the dreaded first cycle.
I wasn't paying attention. Did Fox deposit the rupee?
I'm actually not sure either, to be honest. Yeah, I'm actually not sure. Maybe he's using some sort of different strat, but I don't think so, considering he went out of his way to get the rupee in the trading post. I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that he did deposit it, and that we both missed it.
Yeah.
Alright, both of our runners now grabbing their bomb bags. And unfortunately, when they do finally get Song of Time and the Ocarina, they're gonna lose all of their bombs. But in Trev's case, he is actually going to be able to go out into Termina Field, and he's going to be able to farm some bombs from the bushes, which is probably the first thing that he's going to do. Fox now heading back over to the bank. Maybe we'll be able to see here his total. I think it said 50. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's really hard to
The
tell.
text is
It's
yeah.
so fast.
The bank is so fast in MM3D. That's actually nuts.
Oh yeah, so it's really easy to get up there. You don't need to get the Moon's Tear or anything.
Yeah, both versions super easy. In MM, I believe Trev just did a gainer. But you can also kind of do the inverted backflip thing that Fox did on MM as well. Just kind of preference. It doesn't really matter because you're not trying to go fast or anything right now.
Yeah, either method works in either version, so it's just preference. Some people don't like gainers.
All right, both runners now in the clock tower, and I'm curious to see if Fox will again pass Trev due to the cutscenes in this section. Because as we've seen so far, cutscenes have played decent amount faster for Fox. Just an interesting little difference between the two games.
Yeah. Fox may be able to overtake Trev during the initial part of this cutscene, but there's going to be a lot of cutscenes back to back. And in particular, Fox is going to have to watch an extra one that Trev is going to be able to skip. In MM3D, when you play Song of Time, the game does not save. And so when Fox plays Song of Time for the first time, he's going to have to watch the flashback cutscene where you kind of remember everything that's happened to you over first cycle, whereas I believe Trev is going to be able to reset his Wii in order to skip that cutscene.
Yeah,
The game's
you're
going to
right.
save. The game's going to save as soon as he plays Song of Time.
Yeah, you're right. As soon as he plays Song of Time, it is going to save, and Trev will just immediately be able to reset, skip that cutscene, and once again gain a little bit of an advantage over Fox. But right after that, both of our runners are going to have to watch a lot of cutscenes after that again. But right after that, we should be good to go, and there's not really too much downtime after that, and we'll finally be able to watch the game. So both of them just now learning Song of Time. And both, I'm assuming, are just going to equip only the ocarina. Trev might equip the bombs as well. I'm not totally sure. But he will need to use his bombs relatively soon when he goes to the Deku Palace, so might save him a little bit of time to do that.
Fox doesn't actually have to equip the ocarina because it's just automatically on the touchscreen, permanently equipped.
Oh, I
Whereas
see, I
Trev
see.
has to equip it.
Yeah, there's Trev equipping it now. Alright. This is where we're going to see Fox go through the flashback cutscene here, and right away we're going to see Trev reset. Yep, right there. There we go. So once again, Trev with a little bit of an advantage here. I'm curious to see how they're going to line up after all these cutscenes end, because I think Trev is going to have a slight advantage heading into the Song of Healing cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
But
There's one
again,
other little extra part in these upcoming cutscenes that Fox is going to have to do, and that's just because of how you get the Bomber's Notebook in MM3D. The Mask Salesman just gives it to you at the end of all these cutscenes, so that adds a little bit to Fox.
all right. So that being said, then Trev might actually be coming out of here ahead.
Mm-hmm.
He's already getting Song of Healing. A big advantage, and this is where you can clearly see the advantage that MM has over MM3D, because both of the runners got their ocarina at around the exact same time, and here we see Fox still going through cutscenes, whereas Trev has already been in the Song of Healing cutscene for a solid 30 to 40 seconds. Alright, so Fox now learning his Song of Healing, and Trev just has to watch a little bit more and he's out of here. So one thing Trev is going to have to do before he leaves is he has to go hit the owl statue. Fox was able to activate it during the first cycle as a Deku because you do not have to swing your sword at the owls to activate them in MM3D. You just have to interact with them. So Trev will have to run over there real quick, just a very small detour. He's going to activate that owl because right after he gets Song of Soaring and enters Woodfall Temple later, he's going to want to come back here. And the only other way he'd be able to do that would be to Song of Time, but of course he doesn't want to lose all of his stuff, so just a very small detour over to the owl statue, and then he's going to go out into the field. All right, Trev is finally free. So
And then
he's gonna leave here. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, every time you run this category or watch this category, you get to the end of these cutscenes and you think you're finally free, and then you just realize there's one more lurking in the distance
Oh yeah,
with a skull kid.
I actually completely forgot about that. Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, we're not free just yet. We're gonna have to deal with another one for a couple minutes here.
So Fox,
But
you see,
yeah,
is getting the Bomber's Notebook right now. The notifications for the Bomber's Notebook can be super annoying in MM3D, but thankfully in a run like this, you're really not going to see any of them because we're not going to be completing really any of the side quests.
yeah, it's definitely super convenient when you're given the notebook super early like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Trev now in Termina Field, and one thing you're gonna see him do right away is he's gonna go straight over to a patch of bushes, and he wants to get one bomb drop. And since he's Trev and he is the bomb RNG god, he's gonna get it from his first bush patch, almost guaranteed. So we'll have to see. Ooh, he actually did not. So he's gonna go over to another patch here, and he really wants to have these bombs before he heads into the swamp, because they're going to save him a lot of time. And there he goes. He finally gets one on his second try. So that's not too bad. I believe second try compared to first try is like an 8-ish second time loss. But definitely worth it in the long run, because he will now be able to use those bombs and be able to damage boost in Deku Palace and save a lot of time using that.
Yeah, you'll notice that Fox chose to simply backwalk straight into the cutscene, particularly as human. That's just because Deku movement isn't quite as fast as human. Also, Fox doesn't really need a bomb drop because damage boosting with the bomb was patched out of MM3D, so he's not going to be able to use that to his advantage in the Deku Palace. And because of that, he actually doesn't need a bomb before he'll come across a guaranteed bomb drop in Woodfall Temple. So you can just pick that up without dealing with any RNG.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot nicer to not have to deal with that bomb drop. I remember when I used to run MM a lot, that was one thing that was definitely very frustrating, with the fact that as soon as you got out of all the cutscenes, you go into the field, and then immediately you have to farm bombs. So sometimes you would just get super unlucky, lose like a minute plus, and then immediately go into another cutscene, and then you can finally play. Just feels bad when you get super unlucky like that, but in this case, Trev pretty lucky, so
Kind
not
of
much time
funny
lost there.
between MM and MM3D. In MM, in most of the glitched categories, you're not going to have to farm for bombs because you're just going to buy the bomb egg in second cycle because you need so many bombs. Whereas in Glitchless, you do buy the bomb egg in first cycle and then farm bombs. Whereas in MM3D and Glitchless, you don't need bombs right away. You still buy the bomb egg. And in the glitched categories, you do actually need a bomb drop at the start of second cycle. That's kind of flipped between the two games.
All right, so as we see here, we're pretty much synced up completely again. Despite Fox having to do the extra cutscenes and stuff like that, he is now past Trev, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So both of our runners are going to be heading into the swamp now. Trev will not be getting the owl in Southern Swamp. Do you know if Fox will be getting it?
I believe he will be. The owl in Southern Swamp is actually moved slightly, which is something you're going to notice right when Fox goes through the floating zone, is that he's actually going to get the Song of Soaring right away, because they moved it to the other side of the swamp right at the entrance. Whereas Trev is going to get it a little bit later, right before he enters Woodfall Temple.
Fox also picking up a Deku stick right there. Super convenient location, makes a lot of sense. And yeah, picking up his Song of Soaring right now. That's not going to make too much of a difference, though. He's not going to be able to really use it, I don't believe.
Yeah.
And right after this, he's going to be following Trev into the woods. So one thing to watch out for on Trev's side is he is eventually going to be inverting to slow down his time. He has not done that yet, but Trev is actually going to complete the entire game in this cycle. So what he's doing right now is he is purposely not inverting to kind of make his in-game time easier to manage. And I believe he's going to invert around the time he gets the potion to when he enters the woods the second time. And by burning that time early on like this, it's going to make his in-game time way easier to manage later on, because he will have to uninvert and have everything sync up for him.
Fox is actually almost going to do the opposite. He's actually going to play Song of Double Time right here and go immediately to the second day, which is something you can do in MM3D, because you can sort to any specific hour of the current day you're on, any hour after the one you're currently at. He specifically chooses to do it there because there's no day transition cutscene. And the reason he's going to do this is simply because it makes the Woods of Mystery faster. The path you can choose, or the path you can go on in the Woods of Mystery depends on what day it is, and the day 2 path just so happens to be faster. Additionally, the witch will go into the woods on day 2, so you don't have to leave, go up into the hut, and then go back through the woods. You can just do a short detour to get the potion while remaining in the Woods of Mystery.
Yeah,
And
that's. Go ahead.
The reason Fox is able to do this is actually because he's unable to complete the entire game in second cycle due to differences with how the clock speed goes while you are inverted. In MM, when you play the inverted Song of Time, time will actually pass at 1/3 the rate, but in MM3D it'll only pass at half the rate. And so because of that, it's not possible in the optimal route to complete the game in only 2 cycles. Or because of that, he doesn't have to worry about staying on day 1 right at the beginning. He can move it to day 2 and do this faster route through the woods.
Yeah, that's definitely super convenient, because as we were able to see here, Fox once again pretty much catching up almost entirely because of that little route change there. Being able to just backtrack in the woods and get his potion immediately, whereas Trev had to go all the way to the witch, come back out, go all the way to the witch again. And as I mentioned, Trev did invert right about when he entered the woods, so his time is now slowed down, and from here, he's pretty much going to be staying inverted all the way up until he gets Epona, and shortly after that, he will be uninverting, and I think that's his last time he will be slowing down his time.
Fox is also able to sword act Swamp because he already has Song of Soaring, so that's one of the convenient things about Song of Soaring being moved.
Yeah, another small time saver for Fox. It looks like climbing is actually a lot faster in MM3D as well.
Yeah, in MM3D you can mash B to climb faster.
Yeah,
Kind
that's
of a
interesting.
weird...
I just saw him rip up that ladder, and I was
Yeah,
like,
so
dang.
it's a very strange change.
Yeah. All right, both of our runners being nice, giving everyone a nice view of the swamp while they wait.
Not too big of a thing in this category, but in MM3D, the Pictobox is permanently equipped over your first-person mode, whereas in MM it's a separate item.
Alright, so Trev now arriving at the Deku Palace. First thing you're going to notice right off the bat is Trev will almost certainly skip the guards by doing a little trick onto the fence and then just backflipping over them. So I'm pretty sure he's going to go to the left. Yeah, he's going to go straight to the left. And then he's going to try to jump slash onto the fence and do a quick backflip over. So by doing that, he is able to skip going Deku completely, and since he wants the damage boost right here, he saves a couple mask transitions by doing that. Now Trev just going to gainer up here, and straight into the grotto. So, right now, Trev is looking to buy 5 magic beans, because later in the run, they have to do the well. And in the well, the requirement in Majora's Mask is to have 5 magic beans. So he perfectly farmed out 50 rupees right there to have the exact amount to be able to buy all 5 right now. Whereas I believe Fox will be getting the beans on a later cycle, and another difference between the games is that MM3D actually only needs 1 bean. So Fox doesn't need nearly as much money, and he saves a little bit of time in buying all those beans.
Yep.
We're seeing a little bit of a route difference here in the Deku Palace. Trev going over to the right side first, whereas Fox is going over to the left, and he's going to go straight to Sonata.
Yeah. You can do a little backflip onto the door frame to skip basically the entire Deku Palace. You're supposed to, you know, get the bean, get the water, plant the bean, take it all the way around and stuff like that. But you can just backflip on the door frame.
Yeah, Trev going for the same thing. Unfortunately, he missed getting onto the top on his first attempt, so now he's going into that grotto as a backup to fix the cycles of these little platforms. So now that he's done that, he can get over here and not have to wait at all for this platform to go back and straight into Sonata. So after this, will Fox just be leaving, or will he be going back in for a bean? Do the beans still exist within the palace in 3D? I'm not actually sure.
They do, but he's going to be getting the beans in the next cycle, because that's when he's going to be doing the well. So he's going to be going straight to Woodfall Temple, I believe.
Yeah, that makes sense. One thing you can do in MM is that you can buy beans from the salesman here, and then once you do that, the Deku Scrub by the pictograph place starts selling beans. Is that a thing that happens on 3D as well, or no?
I think it probably is, but I'm not sure that would be faster.
Yeah, it just doesn't end up being faster. Yeah, it makes sense. Alright,
He
so
also has 1 rupee right now, so he couldn't buy beans
yeah.
without changing the route somehow.
So a little bit of a difference here. Fox had to go into the other exit within the palace, and Trev is able to do this jump off the lily pad and quickly get to the end of the area here. So
Yeah, that jump simply isn't possible because the little rock thing was changed.
So Trev now picking up his Song of Soaring, and of course Fox already has his from the beginning of the swamp, so he is going to head into Woodfall.
You'll notice Fox passed by a feather statue right there. Because the Song of Time doesn't save the game, Grezzo, the people who remade this game, added in feather statues, which are like owl statues in that you can save at them, but you cannot warp to them. So no reason to activate it.
Alright, so Trev now on his way into Woodfall, just chasing Fox here. I want to say Fox will probably pick up the Deku Nuts here, but I'm not too sure. I know Trev will be doing that for sure from these pots. He's also activating the owl statue while he's at it. But these pots here are very convenient because they have a guaranteed Deku Nut drop, at least on MM.
Yeah, there's a Deku Nut there. A Deku Nut, a Deku Stick, and a Fairy.
Yeah, and that's super convenient because that's another thing that they're going to need for the well later on is 10 Deku Nuts. So having a drop like this that's directly in your path is really convenient.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to see... Go ahead.
I believe it's only 1 Deku Nut, again, in MM3D.
Yeah, so not as crucial for Fox then, but Trev will almost definitely be picking it up. So what Trev was trying to do there, you may have noticed that he flew straight onto the the little platform to play Sonata. There's actually one frame where you can unequip the Deku Mask right after you play Sonata, and it will overlap the text with the cutscene. So you'll see right here, he's going to get the text. And if he had gotten the frame right after playing Sonata, he would have had those overlap and have them at the same time. It's not too big of a deal, but it would have saved him about a second and skipped the text completely. So Trev grabbing the Deku Nuts, grabbing another stick, and he's heading.
Fox did not grab the nuts. He already grabbed the Deku stick at the beginning of the swamp. And there he just picked up the guaranteed bomb drop, so now he's all set for when he heads off to the mountain village coming up in a little bit.
Another small difference here we're going to see from Trev. He's able to actually backflip onto this platform instead of flying across the whole room, whereas Fox had to fly across the whole thing. Another small time saver for Trev. Trev also grabbing another guaranteed bomb drop right there, might as well. And Fox now looking across the... Ooh, almost fell down.
Ooh.
Yeah, so Fox taking the stick across the room here, relighting it. May have noticed that he put his stick back into the torch, even though his stick was already lit, but what that did was it actually reset the timer. So that was the reason for that, and now he's out of this room and draws his sword right before going up the stairs to preserve his stick. Trev doing a little bit of a different strat here. He's actually going to skip pushing the block entirely by doing a nice little jump across here. Little bit of a time saver there. And again, Trev just heading straight up. So there's actually a nice jump slash right here that you can do. You're going to see Fox doing right now. You can do a jump slash recoil to skip flying across that room and going down the stairs. So that lets him get straight to the bow room.
We're just gonna see how powerful the Deku stick is right here.
Yeah. Dead. Yeah, super quick and easy fight. After this, I believe we're gonna see Fox actually leaving Woodfall Temple.
Yes.
Ooh, Trev
Trev
missing. Yeah, Trev missing the recoil there. That's super unfortunate. The only way to get back is to go all the way back through these previous rooms here.
Yeah, so Fox is just gonna get the bow and peace out. He's gonna be heading straight for Mountain Village.
So Fox now heading back to Clocktown, and he will be coming back to finish off Woodfall in the next cycle that he does. As Purple mentioned before, he is not completing Woodfall now, simply because there's not enough time to be able to do it. So the best thing for Fox to do is to just leave and come back in another cycle to be able to grab the bean and to be able to complete the rest of the game during that cycle instead. Whereas Trev, obviously inverted already, and he is just going to be able to complete the whole game in this cycle. But at the same time, Trev is also not going to be completing Woodfall right now. He will be getting the bow, and then I believe he'll be going over to the boss key and then leaving. The biggest reason for that is that when you complete Woodfall as your first dungeon, there's a pretty long cutscene that plays. And that cutscene is completely removed if you do another dungeon before completing Woodfall. So by just getting the boss key now and then leaving and coming back later, Trev is going to completely skip that cutscene. Fox now making his way to Village. And another thing to notice from Trev's side here is that his health is pretty low, and that's actually done intentionally. What he's going to do is he's going to get the boss key and use the text, or not the text, the chime from when you pick up the item to override the death music, and that's going to give him what's called a fast death warp. So he is going to drop a bomb outside the door, I imagine, get hit by that, and while he gets hit by the bomb, the little chime from picking up the boss key will still be playing, and he will death warp a lot faster than usual.
Yeah, that type of fast death warp simply doesn't exist in MM3D. In addition, when you play Song of Soaring to soar out of a dungeon, or just in general, after the first time you've played it, you can actually skip the cutscene of like the wings taking you away. And so that just makes soaring out a better option in MM3D.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that when Fox was getting out of the temple there, he was able to just skip the cutscene completely. That's definitely a really nice time save to have. And as we see there, Trev getting the boss key, death warping, and he is going to be right on Fox's trail here, heading back to Clocktown and then going to Village.
The Fox is picking up the Lens of Truth now. Just required to get the Goron mask, there's no way around it. Even if you can climb up the wall without having the lens, you just can't get the Goron mask at the top.
Yep, and along those same lines, he doesn't actually need the Goron at all, so you see him soaring back to Mountain Village here. And if you're able to make it to the top, you're just going to be able to get the Goron mask regardless. You don't actually need to talk to the Goron or anything like that. So you can skip the entire little escort thing there.
And here
Which,
the fast climbing is going to save him a lot of time over Trev.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of climbing here. Fox being pretty optimal with his climbing there. He started the climb as far to the right as he possibly could, ending it off as far to the left as he possibly could, just to save those frames on climbing. No reason not to, but just shows that putting effort into making it optimal, that's for sure. Now getting the Goron mask, Trev following right behind, heading into Mountain Village. And I'm pretty sure Trev is going to do the exact same thing that Fox did, which is activate the owl and then head over to the lens cave.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the owls are in slightly different places in MM versus MM3D. For instance, the owl here in MM is over by just a random wall, whereas in MM3D it's right in front of the smithy.
Yeah, a little bit less movement for Fox there. Doesn't have to travel as much to get over to the owl. Alright, so Trev now heading over to the Goron village, and at the same time, Fox getting his Goron mask. I believe Fox will just be grabbing hot spring water here and then preserve it the whole time. He will have to go talk to the Goron baby to be able to actually learn the lullaby intro. But by going fast enough, he can actually do all of that before the hot spring water will expire.
If you're paying very close attention, you'll notice that Trev and Fox, when they were hopping across those platforms to get to Lens of Truth, they took different paths. And that's just another example of one of those things that's different depending on what day you do it on, and Trev's on day 1, whereas Fox is on day 2.
Fox is gonna go talk to the Goron baby. A nice little optimization by Fox, doing a Goron pound right underneath the door frame so he doesn't go up as high. Again, just another small time saver. Trev getting his lens, gonna soar back and gonna go grab his Goron mask. And Trev doing the same route as Fox here. Both runners opting to not talk to the Goron baby, and they're gonna try to do everything just with that one hot spring water and try to go fast and do it all in one trip. I'm not sure how tight it is in MM3D, but in MM, I believe the window to make everything is probably somewhere in the ballpark of like 5 to 8 seconds. Ooh, and Trev falling there. But yeah, there is a little bit of room for error for sure with the hot spring water. So it's not super risky, but if you do make some sort of mistake in your movement, for example, leaving Goron Village can be a little bit tricky movement-wise. It's easy to mess up. You can actually force yourself to go all the way back to the Goron Grave again to get another bottle of hot spring water. So hopefully won't happen to Trev, as Fox has already made it in time, learning his lullaby intro.
I'm not sure if the hot spring water timer is different in MM3D, but one thing that is different is that the Goron Elder's not in a snowball. He's only frozen, so he's a lot easier to find casually.
Alright, so Fox now with the lullaby intro, going to be heading back to the Goron baby again to learn the entire song, and then he's going to make his way over to Snowhead. Just going to be able to soar back once again to the same owl, and then he's on his way. And I believe after Snowhead, just going to go grab his powder keg and then Song of Time back to another cycle.
Yeah.
Whereas Trev, once again, will just be doing everything in the same cycle here. So we're going to be seeing more variation from their routes coming up.
Yeah. They've more or less done the exact same stuff. I mean, Trev has the Woodfall boss key, and he's going to be going back there later this cycle, but this entire section here of doing the mountain village and Goron Lullaby and stuff, that's all the same. Afterwards, like you said, Fox is going to be getting the powder keg and doing the Goron race to get a second bottle. But after he gets the keg certificate, he's going to just go back in time and start a new cycle. Whereas Trev can continue on in cycle 2 and finish the game in that cycle.
Yep, so for a little bit, we're pretty much just going to see Fox leading Trev around. Trev has no other option really but to go to Snowhead right now. So Trev on his way to the Goron baby, and he, once again, he's trying to go fast here, because if he doesn't go fast enough, he's going to lose his hot spring water, which would be a huge, huge, huge mistake. You'd have to go all the way back and grab it again. Fox now out of the cutscene. I'm sure he's going to soar back any second. Be on his way to Snowhead.
Yeah, you'll notice there was a Bomber's Notebook notification right there. And that was like 10 seconds or something. That's just a bit of a nuisance, especially if you run like 100% or something, where you get those you get like hundreds of those or something.
Yeah. So one thing you'll see from Trev here, Trev is actually dropping the hot spring water before hitting the snowball. So by doing that, the Elder will melt during the little cutscene of the boulder breaking. Just a nice little time save. It also makes making the cycle of reaching the Goron Elder with the hot spring water a little bit easier, because if you punch first, you're going to lose a few seconds on your hot spring water. So it's a little bit better to just do what Trev did, drop the water first, then break the boulder, and have two things happen at the same time. Alright, Fox on his way. He is now able to enter Snowhead Temple. He picked up a quick bomb drop, guaranteed bomb drop and a snowball there. And is hopefully going to plan to roll all the way up here. I'm not sure if it's tricky or not in 3D.
It's pretty easy, and also there's a railing right at the end, so you can walk.
Just a huge fan. Yeah, in MM, that's actually one of the more nerve-wracking things in the whole run, at least in my opinion. It's just super easy to fall off there. Like, there are a lot of uneven edges along the ramp and stuff like that, and you can kind of just bounce and completely lose control and be unable to turn and just fall. Ooh, Fox going for a really nice strat there, but unfortunately missing it.
Fortunately, he can just void out as a Deku. See if he goes for it again.
Being a little bit safer, targeting this time to fix his camera. Just going straight across.
The layout of this room is slightly different compared to MM, so I think that makes the jump a little bit more difficult. I'm not sure.
Was he actually trying to get all the way to the door with that roll? Was that the goal there? I'm not sure if he just...
I believe so.
Yeah. I am not 100% sure if you can do that in MM. You probably can. But what Trev will likely do is just roll across the ramp, kind of turn in midair, and then when he lands, he'll actually be able to just roll straight to the door with spikes. So it's actually really fast.
So the route that these two are going to take through the dungeon is going to be slightly different. And that's just because, like we said, there's no damage boosting with the bomb. So Fox has to take more of an intended route, whereas Trev can use damage boosting to skip a little bit, I believe.
Yeah, so Fox in this room right now, I'm not sure what chest that is, the map or the compass, I don't remember, it's one of the two. But yeah, Trev will be able to skip that room completely because he will be able to damage boost, whereas Fox, having to use an extra small key and having to sort of backtrack a little bit here.
Fox doing a couple jumps to skip. The puzzle in that room is just blowing up the snowballs and stuff. He's also going to have to do the puzzle in this room again because of no damage boosting.
Yeah, this might be the biggest time loss out of the whole area for not being able to damage boost, because this room here is it's not quick.
Yeah.
Fox already done though. Will he be able to roll straight to fire arrows? That's the thing you can do in MM, but MM3D I'm not sure.
I believe he will be.
Looks like he just set up his position right there. Looks like he's gonna go for it. Gets a first try, nicely done by Fox.
Fox is going to be going for a cutscene skip on the Wizrobe. Halfway through the fight, the Wizrobe's gonna do a cutscene where it moves on to the second phase, but if you time your hit correctly, you can skip the cutscene.
Yeah, nice cutscene skip by Fox, saving a little bit more time there. Fox actually playing really well so far. I think the only big mistake he made was falling in the first or second room of Snowhead.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's been pretty clean. Trev now in the room here, and as you can see, he's turning in midair to just be able to roll his spikes all the way to the door. Fox grabbing another small key from this freezer room, and Trev is actually going to be able to skip this small key completely just because of damage boosting. So that's one thing you're going to see Trev doing right away, is he will actually be damage boosting onto this block after getting the small key. and in doing that, it lets him skip using a small key, so he doesn't have to do as much of the dungeon. Oh, actually just going straight onto the platform. Okay, a little bit faster. I think the timing is tighter if you do that. The block is definitely much safer, but Trev being a little bit more optimal, going straight up to the platform.
Because Trev is basically skips going back towards the start of the dungeon, which requires an extra key, and because of that, he's going to be able to skip the key later that Fox had to use, or Fox had to get.
Yep, and another difference coming up right here, whereas Fox had to do the entire puzzle in this room, Trev will be able to damage boost right onto the platform. This damage boost in particular is actually kind of annoying because you have those little things running after you. I think they're called bows.
Yeah, those.
But yeah, those things just kind of run at you, and if you don't do that room super fast, they'll actually ruin your damage boost completely. So Trev getting it done nicely. And both of them going to be fighting a Wizrobe at the same time here, except Fox is one Wizrobe ahead. Fox able to punch the Wizrobe from the bottom there. Hitbox extends just far enough to be able to reach.
I believe he'll be going for a cutscene skip again.
Yeah, Trev doing the same thing. Fox missing. Trev got his.
Yeah. You can play the cutscene skip a little bit safe and still save time by doing, instead of a pound and a punch, you can do 3 pounds after the first 2. But the pounds do slightly less damage, which is why you need an extra hit. Still faster than getting the cutscene, but...
Alright,
There's
Fox now
actually
has
a
his boss.
Wizrobe somewhere in the game where if you try to do a cutscene skip like that, the game will actually soft lock. I'm not sure if that's an MM3D exclusive thing. I also don't remember which Wizrobe it is, but I know that's a thing.
I want to say that's the one in the secret shrine.
Yeah.
I could be wrong,
Yes,
but
it
I'm
is.
pretty
Yeah,
sure.
now I remember. Yeah, it's the one in the secret shrine.
Yeah, that also does exist in MM as well.
Okay, Fox heading into GOAT right now. All the bosses were significantly changed in MM3D, so the fight's going to be pretty different. Particularly, they kind of changed the bosses more so they're now forced to be cycle based instead of just you do like continuous amounts of damage whenever you can get hits in. Particularly for Goat, you have to do a certain number of damage to just knock it down, and then it's going to be an eyeball that opens up and you can hit it. The Fox is actually going to be able to do, on the second and third cycle, he's going to be able to do some quick strats to knock Goat back down right away using fire arrows. So hopefully he gets this. It's a really cool strat for this boss. Makes it so you don't really have to use Goron after the initial time knocking down. Oh, he's actually using slightly different variation of the strat, but looks like it's working out for him.
Yeah, still getting the knockdown regardless.
Yeah, I've never seen a bomb use damage the eye before. But it's just any elemental arrow and then a couple normal arrows will immediately knock Go down again, so... Really good fight from Fox.
Yeah, nicely done.
I guess the bombs are good because it looks like they double hit.
Alright, so Fox finished with Snowhead Temple. Trev now heading into the Goat fight, and the fights, as you mentioned, are quite a bit different here. So what Trev is going to be doing is he's going to unfreeze Goat, and he is not even going to go Goron at all. He's just going to equip his bow right now, and he's going to go to a specific spot on the ground where he will then be shooting Goat from across the room. And what he's going to do is he will side hop into Goat's vision, so Goat will shoot, and Goat will stay stationary. And then at the end, when he has enough hits, he's going to allow Goat to run, and then kill Goat, as he's running across the room, and that will cause the warp to spawn right next to him. So as you can see, he's setting up and side hopping into Goat's vision to keep him stationary. And now with the way he's set up his cycles here, he's just going to keep shooting and Goat will die right next to him. So Trev with a nice fight as well.
Both runners opting to get the heart container. My guess is just for safety. There's no real reason you need any hearts in this run.
Yeah, it's always nice to have a little bit of safety moving forward. Especially in the late game, you just kind of lose health to stuff as you're playing. It's not so much dying to bosses or anything like that, but just random enemies hitting you or using bombs for different stuff like that. So it's nice to just have that heart container to take a couple seconds to pick it up and not be at nearly as much risk of dying. Alright, so now that both of our runners are done Snowhead, they are both going to go over and get their powder kegs, which will also include getting their second bottle from the Goron race. And then right after that, Fox will get his certificate for it, and then he will be going over to his third cycle, whereas Trev is just going to continue to the ranch.
Another thing is that Fox is going to be getting this bottle from the Goron race. And that's going to be the last bottle he gets, whereas Trev will get a third bottle. The reasons for this have to do with egg collecting, which is the main reason he would want more than one bottle. Fox is going to be able to soar out of Pinnacle Rock, which makes his second trip back there not lose as much time as it would for Trev.
Alright, Trev confirming in chat that heart containers he's getting are for Wart, and that does make a lot of sense because the most optimal strat for Wart requires you to play really, really aggressively. You basically just have to run in his face and take a bunch of damage to be able to get a double hit with bombs. So it does make sense to grab heart containers just for that reason alone, to make that fight a little bit safer. Alright, nicely done by Fox getting through that Twin Islands room. Can be a little bit scary. You can just hit like a railing or something, go flying into the water and reset.
Yeah.
And another small difference there is actually stairs leading into the Goron's room, whereas Trev will have to unequip the Goron mask to be able to get in here.
Yeah. We haven't seen it yet, but Goron voiding is very weird in MM3D. You're actually not going to see it really used, and that's mainly because it can actually, just by voiding in certain places, lead to like really weird things like grotto alternate exits and things like that. So because of that, it's not really allowed, I believe, in MM3D. What would have happened if he had voided there by accident is he wouldn't... I'm not sure if in MM you would go all the way back to the start of that map, but in MM3D he would have just been put up on the last place where he was standing.
Alright, so Trev now getting his powder keg, and interesting thing to note from Fox, he actually didn't really backwalk at all while carrying the powder keg. Was there a reason for that, or just preference?
I think it's just preference.
Alright, on Trev's side, I imagine we're going to see a lot of backwalking. It's much, much faster in MM to backwalk versus just walking with the keg. So Trev's going to be utilizing backwalking as much as he possibly can. during this little trip over to the racetrack.
Fox notably is going to be able to skip a day transition here because it's going to happen during the go-around race. Takes about 50, well, I don't remember how many minutes it takes uninverted. I think it takes 50 while inverted. Probably a little over an hour and a half, I think, because Fox is not currently inverted. Let's hope that both these runners are able to get this first try. It can be really a pain, this race.
Yeah, it's actually going to be more of a pain for Trev, just because
Yeah,
his route kind of hinges on his in-game time right here, whereas Fox is a lot more flexible, and he knows he's going to song a time anyway. So if
yeah.
Trev actually fails this race, he may actually have to leave and come back and do this race later because he won't have enough in-game time to make it to the ranch. Fox currently behind right at the end of the race here. Might be able to catch up. Usually right at the end is where the Gorons kind of slow down and you're able to hit the one in front of you, which it looks like he's going to try to do right away.
Yeah, looks like he's gonna get to it.
All right, cool. So first try for Fox. And now we shift over to Trev to see how stuff is going to go there, and not great.
Trev's getting knocked around at probably the worst place to get knocked around, which is this area where there's a lot of hill slopes and right before the trees. If you get knocked down when you're about to go uphill, you can just get knocked down a lot, and it's really hard to get back up to full speed.
Yeah, that's one thing that's really dumb about the Goron race in MM is that if you're going uphill and you get hit by a Goron, like just happened again there, you can just lose your spikes for pretty much no reason. I'm not exactly sure why that happens at all, but you just lose your spikes. So Trev getting kind of lucky at the end there. He was trailing the Gorons, and they actually could have taken his magic, but luckily he was able to get it, but lost his spikes again. This is going to be very close for Trev.
Ooh.
Ooh,
I
ooh,
think I'm not sure.
I think he might have lost to the Goron on the right.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
he did. Oof, that sucks. All right, and as I
So,
mentioned, unfortunately, Trev is not going to be able to do another attempt right now because he does not have enough in-game time to make it to the ranch if he does another attempt. So he will have to come back here and do that later.
getting the certificate because he's gonna need this keg in order to get into the ranch, but after that he's got to go right there so that he can still get a bonus song.
Yeah, he needs to go there right now. He only has 30 minutes of in-game time before night one, and if night one hits, Epona is no longer available, so he is just going to go straight to Clocktown and go straight to the ranch after that.
So Fox went back to day one and deposited those 50 rupees, or withdrew those 50 rupees, so he's going to be using that to buy a keg, and then he's going to be heading off to the ranch as well.
Yeah, so once again, both runners pretty much even. Trev has cut down the lead, but unfortunately, as we saw, Trev did end up losing that Goron race right at the end, so he will have to go back. But for now, pretty even race. This far in, just past the hour mark, being this close, it's very good so far.
Trevor's also going to be hitting the Milk Road hole, whereas I believe Fox will not. Oh no, he is? Nope, he's not. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
the main reason for
mainly
that,
just because Trev's going to come back to get a third bottle with the alien side quest, whereas Fox
yes,
isn't.
yes, you're right. Trev will be coming back later to do the alien, so he does need that owl activated, whereas Fox will actually be completing the entire run with only 2 bottles, so there's no reason for him to go back and do the aliens at all. And because of that, there's no reason to hit the owl. He's just going to do everything here all at the same time and then be done with it.
Yeah, he's going to get a Pona song, and then he's going to go over and get the Garo mask. Garo mask, one of the masks required to beat the game, other than the transformation mask.
Yeah, only has one use, and that is to get up the cliff on the way to Ikana. You have to equip the Gar Mask just to spawn a little thing to be able to hook shot up. It's the only use for it in the whole run. So our runner's completely synced up right now. Actually. Fair number of... Yeah, chat saying that, some of Trev's runs do die to the Goron race. That's not surprising at all. Sometimes it just doesn't go your way and you end up losing. In an actual run, if that happens, I mean, that's pretty much a reset on the spot. But in this case, Trev is going to have to work around it. But she should be fine. Shouldn't have any issues, but it is still very unfortunate to have to go do it a second time.
They're just doing like this archery minigame in order to actually get Epona. The time is under 20 seconds, so...
Yeah, for MM, pretty low 20s is good.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone really gets under 20 seconds in runs. Don't think I've ever seen that before, personally, but maybe some people do. But yeah, low 20s, like 23, like what Trev got. It's pretty good.
Personally, I'm not a big fan of that archery game. I usually get like 30s or 40s.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan either. I wouldn't say that I'm bad at it. It just I just don't enjoy it that much because just missing one of the far ones can kind of cause the opponent to run a little bit further than you're used to, and that kind of just throws off your entire little route in there. Alright, both our runners now getting on Epona and heading over to grab their Garo Mask. Trev cutting it quite close to Night 1 here. Has about 10 minutes left of in-game time. He will make it, but definitely cutting it very close. The thing with that, though, is it's very efficient for his in-game time. And it will make managing his uninvert, which will come up shortly, a little bit easier. Not sure how he's going to manage it with the extra Goron race, but we'll have to see. He may stay inverted for a little bit longer. I'm not exactly sure what he has planned for this case. Alright, both of our runners starting this race at the exact same time, pretty much completely synced. Oh, very good race by both of the runners. Dang.
Yeah.
Trev with a 46, Fox with a 47. 46 is actually very, very good. Both the runners getting the Garo Mask, and this is where I believe we're going to see... No, not yet. Not just yet. No, both runners going to go to Great Bay, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so. After that, however, things will start to get a little bit different. Fox is mainly going to stay in one area at a time, whereas Trev's going to be jumping around a lot from area to area. Even more so now, because he has to go back to do the Goron race, but he's going to be going back and forth between Great Bay, Ikana Graveyard, and stuff like that.
Yeah, one big thing that Trev has to consider in terms of just his overall route is that he has to go get Song of Storms. And Song of Storms is only available on the first night. So because of that, he's not able to just sit here and do all of Great Bay at once, because if he does that, he's going to run out of time. And at the same time, he also wants to speed up his time so he won't have to play Song of Double Time a bunch of different times. He's going to want to just have everything be efficient, just go over there, get that done, and then soar back later. But unfortunately, again, because he failed the Goron race, he's not going to be able to uninvert just yet. And he may not do so until Pirate's Fortress. Usually this is right around the point where you would see him uninvert, but he does need that little bit of extra time. So right now, Fox just going to stay in Great Bay. He's going to just do everything here.
You'll notice that cutscene is kind of cut out. Kind of looks very weird when you first see it, that it kind of just cuts to Mikau falling over.
Yeah.
But it's a nice time save for MM3D.
Yeah, so all things considered, this race is very, very close so far. There's definitely no clear leader at this point, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Just based on their PBs, you would say, well, Trev has an advantage. But at this point, not really looking like that. They're very, very close.
Yeah, each runner has some sort of advantage over the other currently. Trev, like we said, has the Woodfall Temple boss key already. And because he's still on the same cycle that he made that trip to Woodfall, the temple's also already risen up. Whereas Fox has already done the Goron race, because Trev unfortunately lost that race. And Fox, because he has played Song of Time, is going to have to raise Woodfall Temple again when he goes back to finish it.
Yep. So this is probably going to be one of the last times that we see our runners this synced, because once they both get the hook shot, there's going to be a ton of variance going on.
Mm-hmm.
As we've mentioned, Fox will be just staying in Great Bay the whole time until he's done. But Trev has a lot of in-game time events that he has to manage. He has the Storm's Grave, he has the Aliens, and he also has to go do his Goron race again. So Trev is going to be going all over the place, whereas Fox will just be staying in Great Bay the whole time until he's completely done here, and then moving on to Ikana.
Hmm. So the Zora swimming in MM3D is really, really bad. You basically want to mash R when you have magic, which can be really bad for your wrist, but gotta go fast.
Yeah, meanwhile, you're seeing Trev just doing dolphin dives. That's the fastest form of movement. Oof.
Ooh,
So, yeah,
that
so
was
Trev,
a nice
I don't think that
one.
was exactly how he intended to do that, but that worked out really well for him. He was definitely going for a recoil into the water there. I'm just not sure if he was going for a jump slash. Because if you just stand on the edge there and you swing your sword at the owl, you get a little bit of a knockback into the water, so you can just equip Zora Mask immediately out of the cutscene.
Yeah. The fact that magic is really good for fast swimming, and that makes it really hard in some other categories for MM3D when you get to this section, because Rezo, for whatever reason, moved the stone mass to the center of Pirate's Fortress, so you need to have magic to use the Lens of Truth. But you can't do fast swimming if you have magic but don't want to use it. So you have to just like backwalk on like the floor, and it's just the worst thing. Fortunately, there's no stone mask in this category, so Fox doesn't have to
Yeah.
worry about that.
Alright, so both runners have to go through the underground here. There's no way for them to get across. while damage boosts and stuff like that are allowed for Glitchless, well, at least normal damage boosts, there is no way for them to get across. So Trev does have to go follow Fox through here.
Yeah, long jumps, however, are not allowed.
Yes.
It would be possible in MM 3D with a very, very precise long jump to skip the sewers.
Yeah,
I
and
don't MM would be able to do that.
it's not possible now. Yeah. Alright, so I guess one thing to watch out for on Trev's side is he still needs to uninvert at some point. We're gonna have to see when he does that, but again, he does still have to go on race. That's crazy seeing the climbing side by side. Wow.
Yeah. Another think up point.
Ooh, it's close. Trev almost falling in the water there. So both runners now done with the underground section. They're gonna go straight over to the hook shot. And after that, I believe Fox is gonna stick around a little bit, whereas Trev is just gonna leave because he wants to come back here with 3 bottles to be able to finish it off all at once.
Fox is gonna pick up 2 eggs and then come back in a second trip to get the other 2. But would Trev, if he had gotten the gold dust, have gotten 2 eggs in the first trip, or still only 3?
He would still just be getting. He would still just be getting the 1 here. The normal idea is that you want to grab the first egg plus the hook shot, and then you go to Clocktown, at which point you sell your gold dust to free up that bottle. And then after that, he would head over to Ikana. But because of the Goron race, I imagine what he's going to do is he's going to grab the hook shot, which he just did, grab the first egg, and then immediately go do the Goron race to be able to do that. And at that point, he should be back to his normal planned route.
Trev was also able to go in the front of that room just because the guard's vision is bad at night. Whereas in MM3D, you can't do that. You have to go around the back and shoot down the beehive.
Nice. Fox going for a nice little side hop around the roof there to skip going through one of the sections of Pirate's Fortress.
That's much more precise in MM3D just because there's a rail there that they put to try and prevent you from doing that.
Alright, so Trev now uninverting. Thinks this is a safe time. He still has to do the Goron race, which he already soared to do. I can't remember exactly how much time the Goron race takes when it's uninverted. But I believe right after he finishes this race, it should be around 10 o'clock.
I believe it's a little over an hour and a half uninverted.
Yeah, that's about what I was thinking too, like an hour and a half. So right after this, what he's going to want to do is he's going to want to go back to Clocktown and get rid of that gold dust immediately. So what he's going to do is he's going to go to the Curiosity Shop, which opens up at 10 o'clock. So if this race is only about an hour and a half, he may actually be slightly early, and he might actually have to wait outside just a little bit for the Curiosity Shop to open up.
Fox depositing the 2 eggs, and now he's headed right back to Pirate's Fortress, I believe.
Oof. Trev losing his spikes once again. It's a little bit scary. He should have enough magic to complete the race, even if the Grunts steal it, but Have to see what happens here. Ooh, Trev hitting the Goron right at the end. I think he has this one. Yep. This is a win for Trev. Nice. All right. So Trev now getting his gold dust. He's going to go to Clocktown right after this. And it is almost 10 o'clock. So at worst, he's only going to have to wait like 5 seconds for Curiosity Shop to open up. But at the same time, I think this does throw off his in-game timing a little bit. Because normally you want it to be a little bit later than 10 o'clock. Because everything in Ikana only takes a few hours. So after Ikana, he's going to want to go to Aliens, which he wants to be to the ranch at around 3 o'clock. So because he's getting here so early, he may actually have to wait a little bit for the Aliens as well, because he's not going to be able to burn enough in-game time in Ikana.
Fox heading over to the last egg right now. Fortunately, unlike the others, there's no way to skip this fight. At least not with anything you would be allowed to do in Glitchless. Goron punches are, I don't know if this is true for MM as well, but Goron punches in 3D are very, very powerful.
They're definitely a lot stronger than Pounds, that's for sure. I'm not sure how they compare on that fight though. Trev will be doing a little bit different of a strat there. He'll actually be doing it as human. And there is a strat where you can kind of stun the guard and kill her instantly with a Deku stick. It's kind of hard to describe, but I'm sure Trev will be going for it, so we'll see it when he gets there. But yeah, Fox now done Pirate's Fortress completely. Already has his 4 eggs, and now he's going to go over to Pinnacle Rock after depositing them. Meanwhile, Trev heading into Ikana, being careful to get bushes for bombs and magic, and now he's going to call Epona to be able to get over the fences here. Just a little bit faster than doing Goron Boost. You could do Goron Boost, but using Epona, you don't have to do a bunch of mass transitions and stuff like that. I guess also important to note was that Trev picked up a fish while he was in Clocktown. He sold off the gold dust, as was mentioned, and he also bought a another powder keg, and that is going to be used later on for Ikana Castle because you need a keg to be able to complete that place.
Yep.
Alright, so Trev in the graveyard, and Fox now going through to Pinnacle Rock, grab his first 2 eggs. And interesting thing to note is that in MM3D you can pull an ocarina underwater. So that makes doing this 2-bottle route worth it, is what I believe you were saying before the race when we were talking a little bit.
Yeah. In MM, you can't normally use Ocarina while underwater, but in MM3D you can. So you can just soar out of Pinnacle Rock once you're done, and because of that, you don't have to swim back. So it cuts out a lot of the time that a second trip would waste.
Alright, so Trev with a
Getting these
super quick...
top 2 eggs, and then the bottom egg on the second trip.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so Trev with a super quick Keto fight there. We didn't really mention it while it was happening, but you may have noticed Trev actually drop a bomb right before waking up Kita. And what that did was actually damage him during the cutscene to kind of slow him down. And then by doing that, you don't have to deal with any of the smaller stall children at all. I think that's what they're called. But yeah, you damage him in the cutscene, and then you can reach him before he reaches the first firewall, which makes that fight really, really fast. So Fox now back with his third trip of eggs, and he has one more egg to go grab. He has New Wave Bossa Nova. Trev getting the Captain's Hat right now to be able to open up the grave for the Song of Storms, which is needed later to progress through Recana. Okay, so Trev now lighting these torches, and I believe he's going to do this fight as Goron. Yeah. So usually as Goron, what you do is you do a combination of pounds and punches. You do a pound at the beginning, followed by another one to dodge the first swing. And while Iron Knuckle is kind of preparing for another swing, you have enough time to do a punch. So then in phase 2, it's just super easy, just punch. And nice fight for Trev there.
Now that Fox only needs to get one more egg, he opted to get a fish in Pinnacle Rock, which is actually not a place I ever thought you would be able to get a fish. Despite it, there being water everywhere. Now he's got his
Yes.
last egg, and he's going to be heading back to get the Bossa Nova.
Yes, I'm assuming that's just his place to get a fish for the well.
Yeah.
A little bit more convenient to do that than go somewhere else specifically for that. Alright, so Fox now done gathering all the eggs. He's going to be able to learn New Wave Bossa Nova right here. And then he's going to head straight into Great Bay Temple. Trev, on the other hand, just finished learning, or he's just about to get Song of Storms. After this, he's going to head into Recana using his Garo Mask. He'll be able to hookshot up, and then from there, he's going to activate the Owl and grab the Gibdo Mask from the Music Box House. And at that point, he's pretty much done here. He doesn't have everything required to complete the well yet. Most notably, he still needs milk, which he'll get from aliens. But we'll have to see if Trev will have to wait for aliens at all, because as I mentioned earlier, he was a little bit early getting to Clocktown. So that might mean he has to wait outside the ranch a little bit. Trev equipping the Garo Mask before walking into that cutscene, just a small time saver. Alright, so Fox now heading over to Great Bay Temple. And Trev is going to do a nice little skip here to get across this little river without having the ice arrows. So if you stand in just the right spot, you can actually hookshot across to this tree, and then you get all the way up. It's not super precise, but definitely saves a lot of time, because this just makes his in-game time management a lot easier.
Great Bay Temple is definitely the most visually impressive dungeon to watch in this category. You're going to be seeing both runners do a lot of really, really cool tricks.
Yeah, absolutely. I love playing Great Bay Temple and Glitchless. Like this, while it's very hard and it's nerve-wracking, it's super fun when you pull off everything. It's just, yeah, like you said, it's just super visually impressive to see everything when everything just is clean and everything actually works. But most of the time that's not the case, because it is a very hard dungeon. All right. Unfortunately, we're dealing with two cutscenes at the same time.
Yeah.
Trev opening up the music box while Fox is opening up Great Bay. So a little bit of downtime right here. But after this, we're going to be seeing a lot of stuff happening. Fox entering Great Bay here, and Trev having to rush around and
Yeah, I believe
grab the
Trev's
alien
gonna
balls.
be. Is he gonna be getting the Gibdo mask right away? Or
Yes,
is
he
he
will.
gonna?
He does have enough time to do it. So whenever you have enough time to get the Gibdo mask, you always want to just grab it. And then after this, he's gonna go straight over to the ranch. But again, I think he's a little bit early, so he may have to wait. All right, so both of our runners are going to be ending their cutscenes at around the same time. So Fox is going to start going through Great Bay here. Trev is just going to run over to the Gibdo house and get the Gibdo mask. Not too much to note going to be going on over there. He's just going to be using a bomb chew to open the door faster, I believe.
Fox is gonna be doing this really precise trick to get to the first room quickly. It's actually made a lot easier by the fact that if you press a mask in mid-air, you will automatically transform on the first frame you hit the ground. So
Oh, yeah, that
it
definitely
makes
makes that
that
a lot easier.
significantly easier than the same trick in MM.
Yeah, it's a lot more tricky in MM for sure. But yeah, that's actually super interesting that if you press it in midair, it just does it on the first frame. That's super convenient in this case.
There's a nice recoil off the wall and turning around in midair to grab that ledge. And then a gainer to get up to the switch without having to use the ice arrows. Fox is actually going to use a twisted backflip and using the home menu to buffer changing the direction on the analog stick.
Yeah, nicely done by Fox so far. A few cool tricks already. We're only a minute into Great Bay, so
Bringing up the home menu on MM3D is always a risk because the game can just really not like that and soft lock or do really weird things. So
all right, Fox with another nice jump over to the boss key there. It looks like it works the same way as MM, where the basic idea is to just target in a certain direction, and you kind of have to do like this angled forward walk. You have to hold like a pretty precise position on the control stick to be able to do that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it looked quite similar to what we'll be seeing
yeah,
Trev do later.
the trick there is you have to make sure you don't do a dive into the water and then you get a normal type of jump.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you won't get enough height. And I don't think you can grab things out of a dive either.
All right, so Trev did have to wait a little bit for the aliens. Usually you want to get here at around like 3 o'clock, 3:10-ish. And another interesting thing to note, just a very minor time save, was that after he got the Gibdo mask, he just stayed human-like the whole time. And the reason for that is just to allow more in-game time to pass, because that's the goal right now. You just want time to pass to be able to get the aliens done.
Mhm.
So by not equipping Goron, he saved a couple mask transitions to just get that in-game time moving
Fox
a little
fighting
bit
Mort.
faster.
Gonna do this as Goron again, just because Goron punches are really, really powerful. This is definitely a fight that can go really, really wrong, just because you mess up, you're gonna be killing a lot of the bubbles and stuff like that.
Yeah, so Fox getting the first phase down, getting his first hit. Nice.
Ooh, not quite close enough right there. Missed another one.
So another interesting difference in this fight alone is Fox is not killing any of the bubbles at all, whereas in MM, it's very, very, very difficult to do this fight when you leave up this many bubbles. So Trev is almost certainly going to be killing a lot of them with Deku Nuts and stuff like that, but Fox is just kind of trying to roll in front of Wart and get the hits in for the kill. It's actually very close to dying too. It's a little bit scary. Ooh, yep. Unfortunately, dying to Wart. And opting to go back to Zora Cape.
So, let me think about why he would have done this. Yeah, I actually have no idea why he would have done that, unless he was thinking that he was gonna leave and then changed his mind or something.
I was thinking maybe he would have been going there for a ferry or something just to be super safe, but then he just went back immediately. So yeah, I'm not too sure either. So Fox gonna make his way back to Wart. Meanwhile, Trev on his way to the well. He just finished up Alien, so he has his milk bottle, and he has everything required to beat the well. So he's gonna need a combination of the magic beans, which he just equipped, as well as a fish, some Deku Nuts, some bombs, and some milk. I believe that's it. I could be missing one, but oh, Big Poe. He has to fight the Big Poe within the well to actually complete the well.
Oh, maybe. Oh, it's to reset Wart?
Hmm.
Hmm.
I see. So I'm assuming what would happen is if he just entered the room, Wart would already be on the ground. He may be doing something similar to the strat in MM where a lot of runners usually use the music as a cue for their timing for when to actually go hit Wart. So that might have been the idea he was going for there, to reset Wart to actually have that consistent sound cue again. Trev gonna do a cool strat here with a bomb chew, throwing it along the wall, unfortunately missing it. And after this, he's just gonna be able to pull bombs each time he hits the Big Poe, and the explosion will last long enough so that it will just damage the Big Poe every time. Missing the first couple here, but from here should be alright. Once you get one of them, the timing's pretty easy. Meanwhile, Fox making quick work of Wart this time. Good second fight for sure. Grabbing his ice arrows now.
It's gonna be right back to a lot of trick jumps and things like that in this dungeon.
Oh, chat pointing out that Wart is higher up if you don't reset him. That could also be the reason. I figured it was just for timing, but that could very well be what it was too. Is that if you don't reset Wart, you're not actually able to hit his hitbox with Goron punches.
Hmm. That's weird.
Yeah, it makes sense. Definitely a good reason to go reset him though, if that's your primary strat. So Trev now done with the well. He's grabbing his mirror shield, but he's not going to continue into Iconic Castle. He's actually going to go back to Great Bay right now, and he's going to go finish off that area. So the first thing he's going to do is he's going to go deposit the egg that he has, and because he has 3 bottles, there are 3 eggs in Pirate's Fortress, and there are 3 eggs in Pinnacle Rock, so he's going to be able to do both of them in just one trip, whereas Fox had to do multiple trips to each, because he only had the 2 bottles. Mostly it's just Pinnacle Rock because Trev has already done a trip to Pirate's Fortress just for the hookshot and the first egg, but he will save 1 trip to Pinnacle Rock by having that 3rd bottle.
Yeah, if you wanted to skip the second trip to Pirate's Fortress, you'd have to get 4 bottles, which is just not feasible in a category like this.
Yeah, there's just no other bottles that are quick to get compared to the normal 3.
The other bottles would be Beaver's, Dampe, and the Chateau bottle.
Yeah, the trade quest.
MM3D, of course, already gets 2, so it could get Alien's bottle, Beaver's, Chateau. MM3D, Dampe has a heart piece. They moved the bottle to the archery game in the swamp, like the witch archery game. And then there's also the 7th bottle that they added, which is really, really slow. It's a side quest with like the Gorman brothers. All those other bottles are just too slow to get any.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely not worth it, especially when you can just soar out of Pinnacle Rock.
Mm-hmm.
That's super convenient on the side of MM3D for sure. So Trev making his way into Pirate's Fortress first. He had to go pretty fast entering this place because if you're a little bit too slow, you actually get caught by a guard. So he was able to get past and make it through this first cycle. Just makes things a little easier. And instead of hookshotting the target, he's actually going to hookshot over to the torch just to save a few seconds. I'm watching Fox to see if he's gonna do the wheel jump. Ooh, looks like he
He's
is.
gonna go for it.
Nice, and he gets it. Alright, cool. Nicely done by Fox. That strat is super cool. That's probably my favorite strat in the whole dungeon for sure.
Yeah,
Is
same.
that dive out of the water onto the moving wheel. It's not the hardest trick in the world, but that looks super cool when you actually pull it off. And Fox...
I might be wrong, but I believe it might be more lenient in 3D because the wheel actually has a bit of thickness to it, so you can stand on like the side. I'm not sure if that's the case on MM.
It's not super precise in MM either. It's mostly just a timing based trick, and if your timing is good, you're pretty much good to go. Yeah, Fox falling down. Yeah, so one thing we didn't really mention was that Fox actually skipped using the elemental arrows in this room entirely, at least until he fell down. He did some cool jumps as Zora Link to be able to reach the last switch. But yeah, again, unfortunately falling. That wasn't too big of a time loss though, so it's not that big of a deal. Trev able to skip the guard
he
here.
doesn't... No. I think that was... Oh, he did fall, but it was okay because he had already... Oh, he only needed to get out of that room.
Yeah, he already had hit the
Not
switch.
actually get behind. Yeah, because there's only a fairy behind there. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he wanted to go along the fence or whatever, the wall thing on the way, but he fell. Cool little strat right before the boss door too. Just based on how the cycle works, right after that cutscene ends, you can actually just roll straight at the little water spout, and then you have just enough height to be able to roll again and reach the boss door.
So this fight is going to be very, very interesting. They changed it to have the first phase is very similar to how the fight plays out in MM, but they added a second phase where the platform sinks underwater and you're supposed to fight that phase entirely as Zora. But if everything goes well, Fox is actually going to use ice arrows to stay above the water and continue to fight, basically just like the first phase. It requires 27 arrows though, and Fox can only hold 30 arrows at this point, so it's very, very precise. You can only miss 3 arrows the entire time, and you have to make sure you don't ever fall off the ice platform before you're able to make another one. See how close you can get to doing the whole thing.
Alright, here he goes. He grabbed a few more arrows right before this phase started, so he has a little bit extra to work with.
Ooh, he got unlucky because Georg
Yeah.
charged him. So that is very unfortunate. He's gonna have to do the fight pretty much as intended now. This is actually really unfortunate because if you're in a category that doesn't get the ice arrows, there's a way to speed up the first hit here on the second phase, but because Fox went for the ice arrow strat, he can't do that, so it's entirely the intended fight now.
Yeah, really unlucky for Fox, especially because these cycles look to take quite a long time here.
Mm-hmm. They're both long, and they can be a bit random if Georg or Georg, however you want to say it, doesn't go near one of the mines. But in terms of luck, Fox seems to be pretty good.
Alright, and with that, Fox is done with Great Bay Temple. So now all Fox really has left is the Ikana area. He also still has to go back to Woodfall to finish that off.
Yeah, that's gonna. He's gonna do that as soon as this cutscene is over.
Yeah, it
He
definitely
needs-
makes sense because he still wants to grab that bean to be able to do the well, so...
Yeah, he's gonna be starting back to Woodfall, finishing the dungeon, and then right after he's gonna be going back towards the Deku Palace to get a bean. And I believe he also needs to make a trip back to Clocktown to get a keg. Yeah, he needs to get a keg as well as some milk for the well. So after he finishes up that stuff in the Woodfall area, he's gonna go to Clocktown, get the keg, go to a grotto where he can play a Pona song for a cow to get milk, and then he's gonna be going over to Akana.
Alright, yeah, that makes sense. So he has to do kind of the same little trip back to Clocktown that Trev has already done before heading to Ikana, just to have everything done for the well ahead of time. So, meanwhile, Trev has all of his eggs. He's going to be grabbing his New Way Bossa Nova, and he's going to be heading into Great Bay Temple that Fox has already finished. So, at this point in time, it's still really hard to call. Trev has done a good bit more of the actual overworld, but Fox now with that Great Bay dungeon lead over him. So we'll have to see how this is going to turn out in the end. It's still very close, I think.
Fox re-racing Woodfall Temple. Cutscene's actually gonna be shortened because he's already done it, so it's kinda gonna immediately just pop up instead of being a more dramatic
Yeah.
first time opening.
Alright, so really all Fox is going to have to do in here is just go get the boss key and then finish off the temple, so it's only going to be a couple minutes. And because he has the hook shot now, he doesn't have to fly through this room like he did before. He can just kind of walk to the end and hook shot up.
The fire arrows are also going to speed up both this part, and also I believe they're going to make the gecko fight faster by cutting out a cycle.
Yeah, the fire arrows do a little bit more damage compared to the normal bow, so yeah, that does make sense that it would skip a cycle there too. So this is a little bit of catch up for Fox right now. Trev already has the boss key, so Fox will have to make up that bit of time there. But
Not too huge of a deal, but I guess it's worth pointing out that in MM3D you can actually equip multiple types of arrows at once, which is something unique to OOT, OOT3D, MM, and MM3D, without glitches, of course. MM3D being the only one where you can equip multiple types of arrows at the same time.
so Fox fighting this gecko, and it should be only 2 cycles, I believe. Yeah, just 2 cycles.
Yeah.
Fight's already done. So Fox gonna grab his boss key. He's gonna head straight over to Adola after this and finish off Woodfall. Meanwhile, Trev just about to enter Great Bay Temple.
There's going to be a strat that Fox is going to go for on Adala. I don't exactly remember what it is, but I remember it being very, very cool, so be sure to watch that.
It's kind of unfortunate because both of our runners are going to be getting into a cool section at the same time here. Fox is going to be fighting Adalwa probably around the same time that Trev starts Great Bay Temple. And as we saw with Fox, the beginning of Great Bay Temple has a lot of cool strats, so... Fox might actually finish off Adalwa before Trev gets in there, we'll have to see.
Yeah, Trev's
We might
got
be able to watch both.
another cutscene coming up, so...
Yeah.
If this fight goes well for Fox, it'll be... Not only will it be quick, but it'll probably be over before Trev regains control inside the dungeon.
Oof. Yeah, that was a quick one.
Yeah, so I believe I don't think he got what he was trying to do on the third cycle there, but on the second cycle you notice he threw a bunch of Deku Nuts, and that basically is a really, really quick way to stun Adalwa again.
Yeah, I noticed his timing was off on that last cycle just by a little bit when he threw his Deku Nuts, so he wasn't able to land the stun. Alright, so Trev now in Great Bay Temple. There's going to be a lot going on here right off the bat, just like with Fox. In MM, this first room is considerably more difficult, so he's going to be using a little bit of a setup here to get on this water wheel. He might also be buffering it later on. I'm not sure if he does that or not. I used to buffer this strat when I used to play, but we'll have to see. Yeah, so does use a buffer. It looks like you should have this no problem. Yep.
Nice.
Nicely done by Trev. And I think Trev is going to use the exact same strat that Fox used, where he'll do a recoil off the wall and kind of turn around. So how that's done is he's actually targeting right now to kind of lock his camera. Although it doesn't look like the camera is doing anything, it's actually kind of locking it in a certain direction. Trev missing it there, but that's the reason why Link turns around after the little bonk. So Trev gonna have to do a backup now, opting to go onto this platform here, and I think he's going to do a little bonk off the side of this platform and then get up there. Yep,
Nice.
here goes, good backup. And can just gain her up here real quick.
Fox. There's no cutscene there again because he didn't complete all of the first dungeon. He also doesn't need the Deku Princess because that's only good for getting the Mask of Sense early. Just going to Deku Palace to get a bean, and then he'll be going off to Clock Town in order to go to a con.
Just rolling through the water here, nice little time save. Interesting that on MM3D the Bean Grotto is a lot more accessible because it's not even inside the actual palace, just kind of on the outside. Makes it
Yeah.
a little bit quicker to get to.
I believe that's where it is in English, if I'm not mistaken.
The Bean Grotto is still inside the palace on English as well.
Oh.
In MM. They're just on different sides of the palace.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, they're not on different sides. They're just in different grottos on the same side.
Yeah, that's right.
Just different sides of the same room.
You're supposed to have to go through like the lower level to get to the Bean Grotto, plant the bean, and then you can go through the upper level to get to the Sonata.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, so Trev now gonna fight Wart. The strat for Wart here is much different compared to what we saw Fox do. So Trev is gonna be going for the strat that involves getting double hits with bombs. So the best way to manage this is to use a music cue, like I was talking about Fox might be doing. Most people in MM use the music of the fight to know when to pull their first bomb. So Trev is gonna pull his first bomb, walk in, and try to pull another bomb to hit Wart twice in the same cycle. If he's able to pull that off, he's gonna save a lot of time. He has 2 shots at it, so he's probably gonna go for it again here. And Trev hitting it, so that was really nicely done first cycle. And as you can see now, he's dropping a lot of bombs just to be able to clear out most of these bubbles. The best way to deal with Wart in the second phase is to just kind of get in the corner and use arrows. But if you're doing that, the bubbles mess with you a lot, so you kind of have to kill everything. So that's why you saw him spamming bombs, spamming Deku Nuts, and now the entire room is clear, so you can just stand here and shoot arrows to finish off the fight. And that was pretty quick. Nice fight from Trev. So Trev grabbing his favorite item, the ice arrows, and gonna be able to finish off the rest of Great Bay. Meanwhile, Fox doing a little bit of retracing Trev's earlier steps, doing the graveyard now. Also gonna have to get Captain's Hat, also gonna have to get Song of Storms, and then head up into the actual canyon.
Fight's gonna look a little bit different here from Fox, just because he's not gonna be able to place the bomb before the fight to stun Ida right away. Still gonna be a pretty fast fight. Just not quite as fast. He's also, like most fights, gonna be using Goron.
Alright, fight's already over. Nice fight from Fox. The, I guess one difference that I noticed there is that Kita appears to move a lot slower. So that enabled Fox to just kind of roll up and land a punch Didn't even have to use the bow to slow him down or anything. Just rolled up before the first firewall and hit the guy with a punch. Whereas Trev had to use a bomb and then an arrow to be able to reach. Trev doing
also
little, yeah.
able to do that jump there, whereas Fox had to go up above on the grate.
Yeah. Yeah, so what happened there was by targeting the Tektite at the beginning, Trev was doing a little setup to get the correct angle. And then he was able to do a couple dives, and right at the end, he actually canceled his dive. I think by pressing B, there are a couple ways you can do it. You can either just release A or press B. I think Trev pressed B, but you cancel your dive right as you jump out of the water, and that allows you to actually be able to grab the ledge.
Fox unfortunately fell down, so he has to roll all the way around.
Ooh. Yeah, picking up his captain's side now. Not too big of a time loss, not too bad. But it does suck that you have to kind of do the roll of shame around the whole thing there. Alright, so Trev gonna go for this water wheel strat that we saw earlier from Fox. It's pretty easy when you're first going into the room. You should be fine. Yeah, he gets it. Just has to stay on platform now. And he does it. So nice job. Both runners getting that trick first try. Meanwhile, Fox fighting Iron Knuckle, just spamming away those Goron punches. Pretty much the same thing as Trev. Gonna grab his Song of Storms, and we'll be able to see on Trev's side what Fox did. They pretty much did the exact same strat in this room. Oh, Trev actually not going for the second one. You can actually do
The second
another.
one's a lot harder.
Yeah, it's a lot more precise for sure. Trev going for the safer strat of just using fire arrow. It's not much slower. A couple mask transitions and a small cutscene, but definitely worth it for the safe. So Trev will just be able to do a gainer onto this pipe, or actually just going onto the fence. Ooh,
So
ooh, falling down. Yeah, so same thing as Fox in this room. Both of them kind of just fell down on that fence. But back up to get out of the room is not too bad.
camera kind of messing him up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I grabbed the ledge there.
Yeah, good old camera.
Both runners just with basically one more thing before their routes finally converge. Travis to fight the boss here, Georg, and Fox has to do the well, get the mirror shield, but then both of them will be going into Iconic Castle.
Yeah. Trev will end up doing Woodfall after Great
Oh
Bay.
yeah, Trev does have to do Woodfall, I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, so at this point in time, Fox at 3 dungeons, while Trev is going to have 2 right after Great Bay. But it will not take long at all for Trev to go back and finish Woodfall, because he does already have the dungeon out of the water. He does already have the boss key. So he's just going to be able to go straight in there, run straight to the boss, and finish it off in a couple minutes. So he is not too far behind right now.
Yeah. Fox is going to be using ice arrows, whereas Trev was able to skip them. You can't really skip them in the same way in MM3D because the Treves just moved slightly. You can actually do a really precise Zora dive to get up onto the platform he's at now before hookshotting up, but it's just not really worth it. The route ends up being slower if you come here early, mainly because of the extra cycles. You don't have to come here as early to make sure you get storms right away.
Alright, so Trev now in phase 2 of the Georg fight. Unlike MM3D, the MM fight is actually very straightforward, and basically the only thing he's trying to do is wait for Georg to swim into this into the platform, and then just kind of swim into his face and use magic, and fight's already over. So good job by Trev there. Quick fight for sure. And meanwhile, Fox is gonna play his Song of Storms to open up the music box house to get his Gibdo mask for the well. So yeah, at this point, both just have Ikana left. Trev has already done the well. Fox has already done Woodfall, so we are very close. We could see them neck and neck again in a few minutes here.
I always forget how long this cutscene that Fox is in right now is. It's actually quite a long cutscene.
Yeah, this is one cutscene in both games that is just kind of painfully over the top. I don't really know why they felt the need to make this particular cutscene so long, drawn out when you know exactly what's happening, but that's what they did. So Trev now gonna head over to Woodfall, and as mentioned, he already has his boss key, so he's just gonna fly straight in there. He's gonna hook shot straight to the end and finish off the temple. Should be done it in only a couple minutes. Alright, so same idea as Fox. He doesn't need to fly across the room anymore, so he's just gonna spin straight across and hookshot up to the torch. And again in the next room, I imagine he's just gonna hookshot to the torch across and jump up. Yep, there he goes. Ooh, but going down because I think he's missing magic. I think that's what he's going for here. Or was that accidental? He might have fallen off accidentally, actually.
I think, did he get knocked down by one of the moths?
It didn't look like he got knocked. He actually got up to where the switch is, but then he got knocked that time.
Oh, there
But
he
yeah,
got knocked down.
he actually got up to where the switch was, but then jumped off. I wasn't sure if he wanted to go get magic to be able to light the torch at the end of the room. But it may have actually been an accident.
Yeah, looks like he is just trying to get magic right now.
Yeah, so these pots here most likely are just RNG. He's trying to farm a magic drop. Alright, there he goes. Alright, so now he can use his fire arrows to completely skip the whole flower sequence in this room and just go straight to the boss. Alright, and Trev in the Adola fight. So, no complicated strats here on the side of Trev, opposed to Fox. Trev will just be looking to land an arrow shortly after the fight starts, he'll probably roll forward a couple times, and right after that, he's pretty much just gonna stun Adolwa to death. As long as you time your power crouch stabs correctly, there's nothing that can really go wrong. Yep, so Trev making quick work of Adolwa, and now our two runners are even on dungeons, so all they have left is Stone Tower. Fox making his way through the well. Both runners going to get to Icona Castle at roughly the same time. I think at this point Trev has a little bit of a lead because he's already done the well, so he's going to be able to warp back and just do a gainer over the sunblock at the beginning of the castle, and he won't have to climb out of the well or do any of that stuff. So he's about to save back most of his time lost here. So Fox going for the strat of landing these fire arrow shots right as the big post spawns. Whereas Trev did this with bombs, Fox just opting to do it with fire arrows, missing one shot there, but pretty good fight. Yeah, Trev mentioning in chat, usually you're completely out of magic after Georg, which is why normally does not do Woodfall. He actually PM'd me telling me that he was going to do Woodfall instead. Normally he would just go to Icona and do Woodfall last, but in this case he opted to do Woodfall. But now he's on his way to Icona Castle. Fox, ooh, okay. Fox landing that last arrow to light the torches, and he's gonna grab his mirror shield. I'm not sure if Fox is going to climb out of the well, or if he can also just kind of...
No, he's also going to do a gainer twisted backflip on the sunblock. So
Okay.
Trev really not with too much of a lead right now. Probably less than a minute ahead at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah, definitely less than a minute. It's crazy how much their routes kind of separated, but now we're right back to where we were the whole race, where both runners are right beside each other here, entering Icona Castle. So Trev just doing a jump slash with Zora to be able to get onto this ceiling here. Saves a lot of time actually, because normally what you have to do is hit one of the switches and then use a Deku Flower to make the ceiling go back up. But if you just use Zora, you can jump slash up, or I think you can backflip up too, but most people just jump slash and you can get through that room super quick.
An unfortunate thing of getting into Icona Castle this way is there's none of the music here that's normally plays.
Yeah. Yeah, the music only plays if you come out of the well.
It also plays if you walk into like the cutscene of like showing the castle,
Yeah, 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 you can walk into the
but
cutscene too, but yeah, neither of these runners are going to do that because they don't want to watch the cutscene, of course. So Trev's going to do a strat here where he's actually going to shoot the powder keg, and right as he shoots the keg, he actually shielded the explosion right there, and what that did was that made him fall into the loading zone before the full cutscene played out. Fox just throwing his keg over. Unfortunately not able to do a damage boost like Trev was over, so he's going to have to just drop down and wait
yeah.
for the keg to explode. Fox killing off all those Gibdos and now heading into the room. So yeah, they're both gonna be starting the fight.
I think those were redeads.
Oh, were they redeads? I didn't see if they were redeads or Gibdos.
Not a big deal, but
Yeah. Yeah.
they're all the
Yeah.
same,
I
pretty
wasn't
much.
sure. Alright, so this fight's pretty straightforward for Trev. He's just doing power crouch stabs right now with the stick stored. He's gonna look to take some damage here, I'm pretty sure. Oh no, not taking any damage. Oh, now he's taking some. Usually what you can do is you can take a couple hits from Egos to just drop your health super low. Ideally, you want to end the fight with like a full heart or half a heart. If you have a full heart, then you can do a Chew explosion on yourself like Trev did at the end there. But what Trev is going to want to do after this fight is he will want to Death Warp out of here. So right after this fight ends, it will actually spawn an elegy statue during the cutscene, and he'll just throw Chews into that to Death Warp real fast, because if you throw them into the statue, the Chews will just immediately explode.
Fox opting to do this fight as Deku simply because there's no Deku bubbles are just more powerful on these guys than any other weapon, so I believe Fox is also going to be doing a Death Warp. It won't be I'm not sure if it's a fast Death Warp for Trev, but it won't be here either.
No, it's not. I don't believe it's a fast Death Warp for Trev either. I'm pretty sure it's not. But yeah, Trev now just learning his elegy. So right after this cutscene ends, I'm almost certain you're just going to see Trev turn around and start launching his Chews into the statue that's right behind him so he can get out of here real fast. Yep, there he goes. So Trev Death Warping out of here. This is going to put him right back to the entrance before the block even. It won't put him to the entrance of the castle. The interior part of the castle puts him right outside here. So that's a super quick way to get back to the entrance here. And now the only thing left that Trev has to do is Stone Tower, and he's going to be on his way to Majora. Fox following him very closely, learning his elegy right now.
The actual Stone Tower climb is something you really don't see in anything other than the glitchless categories, just because there's so many ways to skip it, and it's really so long that it's almost always worth it to skip, or it is always worth it to skip it in some way. Whether that's with like bomb hovering or doing like a index warp MM or like a Goron missile and MM3D or something. Kind of cool that you do actually get to see it in this category, because it is kind of interesting how you can optimize it.
Yeah, I remember the first time I watched a glitchless run of MM, I thought it was super interesting how they actually ride the platforms around. Like, they cancel their own statues in order to ride the platforms. So, I just thought that was like a super intuitive solution to solving this puzzle, because obviously what most people do casually is they get all three of the platforms to cross each section. So the way that you're going to see these runners do it here is much, much faster. This first section, of course, you can't really ride anything, so Trev just using two platforms and hookshotting across. But then after this, he's just going to ride both of the other platforms to victory. Alright, so right there, Trev stepped onto that switch on purpose just to kind of move the platforms around. If you don't step onto that other switch, the platforms in this second section kind of get stuck on each other, so by stepping onto it, he freed up the one that he actually wants to use. And now he's going to elegy on top of the platform, which will remove his first statue and move him way further into the climb. One thing to note is that Trev is actually very, very close to daytime here. And what happens if you hit daytime is you get reset to the beginning of the climb. That only happens on day transitions. During night transitions, your position will stay. But if Trev actually does not make it into Stone Tower in time, he will actually go back down to the very bottom of the climb. He should make it here, but it's very close for sure.
Fox is actually in a similar position, but looks like he has a little bit more time than Trev. And Trev's just made it in.
Yeah, Fox looks like he will have more than enough time as well to make it in. Just has to do a couple more elegies here, and of course, while playing elegy, clock is not moving, so should have more than enough. So Trev now in Stone Tower. Pretty cool strat in the first room. He's just dragging a bomb chew to blow up that wall rather than using explosives himself, and using these boxes to weigh down switches instead of using elegy. And Fox making it in. Alright, so both runners making it in right before day transition there. Now, Fox just kind of following in Trev's footsteps. We'll have to see if he's able to catch up at the end here. I'm assuming he's going to do the same strat on this wall. Yeah, looking like it. And he's really only about a room behind right now.
Mm-hmm.
This room looking much slower on the side of MM3D, having to push that block part way across the room there rather than just picking up a box. So Trev, you may have noticed he just played Song of Double Time. A reason for that is, of course, because after this, he wants to go straight to Majora. So he needs it to be past midnight. Just based on how the route works out, you have to play Song of Double Time to be able to make it night. You just don't have enough stuff to do. So opting to do it right now, which should make it midnight about right around the time he finishes the dungeon. You can just go straight to Majora. Fox with a cool little strat there. Actually looking like he threw his fins through the block to activate the back two Armos, and then was able to pull them into the corner to punch them at Goron. That's a really cool strat actually. Trev now in this mirror room. This room, definitely a room that a lot of people hate as a casual player, just because the rate at which those little bows spawn is it's pretty quick. So you actually have to do that room very fast.
On Fox this you'll notice that switch is in a slightly different. Or there is a switch to spawn the chest with a key in it, whereas the chest is just there automatically in MM. I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah, it is. Trev now doing a Goron boost onto this fan, but getting blown off it. That was really weird because that doesn't normally happen. Trying again, missing it though. Ooh, Trev
Our health is pretty
actually,
low.
yeah, very close to dying here. He should be good now. Believe there's health in these pots right outside
Yeah, there
Garo
should be.
Master Room. Yeah, a little bit of a close call there. Oh,
Opting to
actually,
not get them.
yeah,
Is
he's just
probably
death
gonna
warping.
death ward.
Yeah, forgot he's just gonna death warp out of here. The failed damages were definitely not intentional, but it does make it a little bit more convenient because he will not have to take any additional damage after this fight. Fox looking like he's going for a cool strat, rolling through the little fans here as
Ooh,
Goron.
that's nice. I haven't seen that one
Yeah,
before.
that's cool.
And then gonna be taking the rest of the room as thick.
Yeah, really interesting strat there. There are things you can do like that in MM as well, but I think most of them involve doing a recoil flip. Not sure if you can do anything like that with just the Goron mask. Definitely a cool strat. So Trev now getting the light arrows, and this is one of the differences I mentioned at the very beginning of the run that is different on Japanese for Trev, is he will have to hookshot all the way across to the other side of Stone Tower to move the switch, whereas on English, there are switches on the other side of the tower as well, so you don't have to hookshot across like this.
Fox won't even have to move any switches because they moved the actual emblem that you can that you shoot to invert the dungeon so that it's not behind one of the blocks.
Alright, Fox now getting his light arrows and opting to soar out. And he is right behind Trev right now. This is this is very close actually. He's not much more than like 30 seconds behind at this point. Alright, so we're gonna see a few cool strats from the side of Trev in just a second here. First thing he's likely going to do is he's gonna get into this updraft at a specific angle and do a jump slash off of the platform to land on the bridge, as opposed to using Deku to fly up there. Yeah, looking like he's setting up for it right now. And should be good. Yeah, so landing on the bridge just like that. Cool strat. And now is just going to drop straight down to the boss key area by targeting that hand and then doing a jump slash off the ledge there. Following that up by doing a trick called early Igor. So as you can see, he's standing kind of right on the edge. Needs to land 4 light arrows on Igor, 2 to stun, 2 to actually do damage, and he does manage to get it. So that was super quick.
Taking a different route through the dungeon. He's going to be getting this key and then going a more just a different route. I'm not exactly sure what the route is here.
Looking like he's going to jump down to the boss key as well here. Yep.
Yeah.
Trev's trying to go for these double hits on Gomez here, where you can quickly land another crouch stab right after you land your initial one, I believe. What it looked like he was going for there. Meanwhile, Fox doing this fight super quick. Combination of arrows and bombs. And already done. So once again, Fox right behind Trev here. Trev just now getting the boss key right as Fox is finishing up the Gomez fight. But Trev has already finished off Igor, so what Trev is going to do here is he's just going to hookshot straight up to the Giant's Mask chest and go straight to Twin Mold.
Yeah, so the reason Fox needs the key is because the Giant's Mask chest was moved, so it's actually given to you in the middle of the Twin Mold fight, and because of that there would be nothing to hookshot, so he needs to go around and get an extra key in order to get up there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm assuming he's going to have to go back to the beginning of the dungeon to then be able to hookshot up to the top level.
Yeah.
Alright, so Trev opting to not get the Giant's Mask, instead doing it with arrows. Just kind of personal preference. Some runners like to do it with Giant's Mask, some like to do it with arrows. Personally, I like using Giant's Mask, just because when you have a really, really good Giant's Mask fight, I believe it does come out to be slightly better than arrows, because sometimes what can happen is both of the twin molds will just be kind of flying towards you at the same time, and you can land a bunch of double hits on both at the same time. It's super, super fast when it happens, but it's pretty rare. I think for the most part, using arrows are just a lot more consistent. There's a lot more in your control. So Trev using the arrows, missing a few shots right off the bat though. So magic may or may not become an issue later into this fight. We'll have to see. Probably will be fine. Already finished off one, so.
Twin Mold, more than any other boss, was changed a lot from MM. Instead of fighting both at the same time, just with either arrows or Giant's Mask, you actually fight the blue one first with arrows to knock it down so you can actually hit it, and then after you kill blue, you have to fight red with the Giant's Mask, which spawns when you kill blue. But it takes a lot longer to 3D compared to original.
Alright, Trev finishing off Twin Mold. Those ice arrows, while Fox still working through phase 1 here.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not possible to one cycle the blue twin mold. It's only a 2-cycle. As fast as you can get. Fox is also going to try and hit red twin mold with a light arrow here, just so that it doesn't bother him for the rest of the fight against blue. Looks like he's not quite getting it though.
Alright, Fox getting through the first phase. Moving into the Giant's Mask phase now. Definitely looking like a much longer boss fight on the side of MM3D as opposed to original MM.
Yeah, the
Which
fight
I
is
guess is the case
several
with
minutes.
most of them.
Yeah, for Adala and Goat, it's not too bad. Or for Majora for that matter, but Twin Mold is definitely a lot slower, and Georg is slightly slower as well.
Alright, so Trev now just getting out of these cutscenes. it is past midnight for him, so the way he manages in game time, he will just be able to warp straight to Clock Town and go into the Clock Tower immediately. So good time management on his part. Won't lose any time due to cutscenes or any dumb stuff like that. Meanwhile, Fox still playing a little bit of catch up in phase 2 of the Swinmold fight.
Fox is also going to have to play something with double time twice in order to get it to be midnight. Probably going to do that during the Twin Mold fight so that he won't have any day transitions or anything.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Interesting to note is that when you're spinning Twin Mold around like that, if you actually spin the circle pad, it for some reason does extra damage. Although there's nothing in the game that actually tells you that, you'll actually be able to kill Twin Mold in 3 cycles instead of 4.
Really? That's
Yeah, you have to spin on each one, so it only does like a slight amount of extra damage. And it even works if you grab Twin Mold by the head, in which case you're not even actually spinning Twin Mold around, you're just choking it. So I have no idea why that does extra damage.
Yeah, that's really weird.
One of the reasons this fight is so annoying is because in order to knock Twin Mold down, you have to do a certain number of, or a certain like amount of damage before Twin Mold goes back under the ground in order to actually knock it down. You can use one of the 2 boulders in the room, but because it's 3 cycles, you're guaranteed to only to have to do one where you have to actually knock it down with your fist. Looks like Fox. Yeah, I got this one.
Yeah, it's crazy to see just how much longer this fight is on 3D, because entering Twin Mold, I want to say they were about a minute apart, and Trev already on his way to the moon, while Fox is still in this phase 2 here. It's just a very long fight.
Did Fox miss one of the throws with the boulder? I think he did. I think he's gonna have to knock it down again.
Alright, there he goes with the song in double time. Right before the last throw on Twin Mold to avoid the cutscenes.
Probably gonna make it at 1 a.m. here. Or 4 a.m. Probably because that's that we be and scrolling all the way to 1.
Yeah, so Fox now done with Stone Tower. Unfortunately, that Twin Mold fight just takes so much longer. Several minutes longer, that's nuts. So, Fox now pretty far behind heading into Majora. But again, similar to Trev, he just set up his in-game time, played that song a double time twice, so he'll just do the same thing. He's just going to go straight to the clock tower, walk in there right away. No other cutscenes to deal with.
Now it's just a lot of cutscenes to sit through.
Yep. Welcome to MM, the beginning and the end, just cutscene city. Yeah, 2 cutscene action. Someone in chat saying, a little bit unlucky that we're getting these cutscenes at the exact same time, so there's nothing really to talk about, but Trev, almost on his way to the moon now. Should be fighting Majora within about a minute or so. How far are the world records of these apart? Let me just double check my notepad.
I believe it's about 9-ish minutes.
Yeah, so Trev, in the original MM, has the world record with a 2:46.19, and Fox has the record in 3D with a 2:55.19. So yeah, 9-minute difference between the games. All right, so Trev now in the Majora fight. So, 3 phases to the fight. The first phase is pretty straightforward. He's just gonna look to land stuns with the Zorafins to knock down the mask, followed up by arrows to do damage. Other than the last one, just use Zora to finish it off. But first phase is really straightforward. The only thing that can kind of get annoying later on in the fight is the masks that spawn during the first phase. They're not much of a problem during the first phase itself, but in the second and third phases of the fight, they can interrupt your crouch stabs and stuff like that and help Majora get away. That's the main thing to be worried about when it comes to those.
I
So Trev
believe
already...
Fox is going to be killing the remains just because keep in MM you can like keep them off screen and stuff like that to kind of deal with them a little bit, but that just doesn't work in 3D. So killing them is just the best option.
So Trev should be done with phase 1 now. Thing to note is that Trev landed a bomb hit there just to save a mask transition. He pulled the bomb right after landing a hit on the mask, and used that instead of Zorafins to knock him out of the air. So that saved a little bit of time. So unfortunately for Trev, he used up all of his magic. And normally what you'd want to do at the start of phase 2 is just immediately use the Zora barrier and just kind of hope that Majora runs into you, because you can get a stun within the first like half second if you're just kind of lucky. But Trev using up all his magic during first phase was not able to do that, but very, very good recovery on his part. That was a pretty quick incarnation fight without the instant stun. Then the last phase is pretty straightforward as well. He already has the light arrows equipped, and despite not having magic, Majora cannot dodge light arrows. So he just needs to land a stun, and then it's just timing crouch stabs. And that's it. GG to Trev, finishing... He didn't actually officially finish his race on IRC, but finished round a 2:52.40. So GG to Trev. I'm sure the run, well, based on what he messaged me, not what he was hoping for, but all things considered and some of the mistakes that were made, that's definitely a very good time. Stuff like the Goron
Especially with the
race.
failing the Goron race, which is
Yeah,
not really in your control sometimes.
yeah, that's the big one for sure.
GG indeed to Trev, who forgot to end the race on SRL. So
Yeah.
let me just stop it for him. Although I can't really do much. But yeah, it was like a 2:52:40, and now we're in for the rest of the run on Fox's side. So let's switch over to his audio, which is a lot worse because it's 3DS audio. But yeah.
What are you talking about? 3DS audio is great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, Trev pointing out the MM3 twin mold fight, pretty insane. That's just so unfortunate for Fox, man. They were so close heading into twin mold, and now Fox just loses by 5 minutes because twin mold takes forever. So bad. Oh man. All the other fights are pretty quick too, but that one just wow, super long.
Yeah. The Majora fight is pretty similar, though. They didn't really change it.
Alright, so Fox going through first phase of the Majora fight, already spawned the masks. Pretty much the exact same strat as the original MM, just keep Majora pinned in the corner, use fins, use elemental arrows, and that's that. So moving into phase 2. So we'll have to see if Fox will indeed take out the masks here, just to make things a little easier for himself. I'm not sure if he will do that during this phase or during the last phase. Looking like it's going to be the last phase, if at all. Currently just going straight for Incarnation.
There's a lot of different options for Incarnation. Fox opting to use Zora, but really, Zora, Goron, and Human are all viable for Incarnation. Zora, I think, the fastest, but others are more consistent or easier. Might be wrong. Goron might actually be slightly faster, but way more inconsistent. Human is, I think, the easiest. I believe he'll be using Human to stun and then Goron punches on... And it should be 20.
Ooh, yeah, getting taken out by a mask there. Unlucky. I think he's only about 8 or 9 hits away at this point,
Yeah.
so soon as he lands another stun, there he goes.
Ooh. So what Fox actually did right at the end there is he got the remains to actually hit Majora, and the remains do a ton of damage.
Oh yeah, I was wondering what happened there because I was like, wait, did I just miss like 5 punches or something? But yeah, wow,
I
that's actually
believe
really cool.
I believe each shot from the remains does. I don't even want to say a number because it's probably wrong, but I believe. Yeah, I'm just not going to say anything. It's comparable to like a hit from the Great Fairy Sword, maybe.
GG
Either way,
anyways. GG to
yeah,
both
TG to
runners.
Fox.
Fox finishing with a 2:58.55. Only a few minutes, actually like 5 minutes behind Trev. Note that the SL time shown here is not correct, as Trev forgot to do .done and his actual time was a 2:52.34, so 3 minutes faster. And yeah, that's the Majora's Mask versus MM3D any percent glitchless showcase race, which means MM is the superior game. Or not, I don't know. Let's get Fox and Trev in here, I hope. They are coming, and then we go into a little interview. Welcome, Trev.
Hello.
Hello.
My
Hello,
run
TrevPerson.
was really bad.
Mine was too.
Heck yeah, high five, Fox. Thank you, appreciate it.
Well done. Well done on the high five.
Oh man, that death to Wart was just. I'm flabbergasted that I died to Wart. Wart's a pretty free fight in MM3D because you can outrun all the eyeballs and you can shield them as well using Goron. So
Aaron,
to
what are
die
you
to
doing
it
in
is
here, by
just
the way?
disappointing.
Hey, just wanted to say good job to both the runners and the commentators. Did a good job. That was fun. So, goodbye.
Glad you enjoyed it. I hope everyone else enjoyed it too. It was definitely fun to commentate.
I was plus 10 on my PB until GBT, and then it just went bad. Downhill from there on.
Yeah,
Majora was
I
okay.
actually, yeah, and I noticed that you were very close to your PB until till the whole work thing happened. Yeah. Both of you guys had like one major mistake. So for Fox it was Wart, and for Trev it was the Goron race. So Trev,
Yeah.
That were you?
I actually had 3. I failed the Geier strat as well, which is actually
Yeah,
more
that was-
disappointing than dying to Wart to me. That wasted over a minute, and it's always disappointing if I don't get it.
Dude, I was
Drive the one.
fighting for that Goron race though. That Goron race, I almost came back from it. It was actually
Yeah.
Did it right at
worst
the end, and
it was the
I guess
worst
just
case
didn't notice
scenario
that
Goron
Goron
race.
come in at the last second.
I couldn't block both of them.
Oh,
I played it as well as I could have, I think. Like, honestly, that was the most brutal Goron race I've had in a long, long time. Most of them, there's usually a way to win that if I lose, I see the way to win afterwards. That one, it's like, I would have had to have avoided getting knocked down earlier in the race, or somehow I lost my spikes towards the end, and I don't understand that still. And if that hadn't happened, I also probably would have won.
losing your spice at the end so bad.
Yeah, I managed to get them back and actually was ahead, but two of them tried to pass me at the end because I didn't have a big enough lead and I couldn't block both.
Oh,
yeah, I thought you made like all the correct decisions in that race actually. And you got the spikes right at the end. I thought you were gonna get super lucky and somehow win. But yeah, you went for the one on the left, which was the more obvious one, and then the other one just kind of passed you like right at the end. There's nothing you could do. Pretty funny.
So, that race actually looked, for me, being a total scrap, that race actually looked like you salvaged it. And, like, you pretty much finished right besides the actual winning Goron, but...
Yeah.
Also,
I knew I'd lost as soon as I crossed the finish line. It was still slightly behind him. It was very depressing. Very depressing. And then I had to use backups that I haven't used in a long, long time. So the in-game time management wasn't perfect, but it mostly worked out. But I haven't ever continued a run where I lost Goron Race in a long, long time. I just reset. So it was fun. It mostly worked out.
well,
It's a
that's
little
what we're
bit
doing
early to
races
aliens.
for, races for, right?
No one races anymore.
We just
No one
did.
runs MM anymore. Dead game.
Zuna ATZ's never
ATZ.
coming back. Never coming back.
Yeah,
to...
he's not coming back. I know.
I'm I'm an OT rando main now. I can't.
He just won the tournament. He cannot go back to MM now.
No, he should stop while he's ahead. Like stop. That's his peak. He needs to stop there, come back to MM.
He'll
Just gonna end up washed in rando T like everything else.
He'll just switch to MM Rondo as soon as it's ready. I'm seeing it.
Yeah, see that's the real game plan.
The
We need that
the
to come
new
out
MM
right now.
rando, or
So Fox, considering that Majora's Mask won the Speedgame Showdown, are you switching now? Because it's obviously the better game. We learned today.
I knew full well that I was going to not get first because just because twin mode is so long.
Yeah,
It
it's actually
was pretty funny.
yeah, you are only like a minute behind or something when entering twin mode compared to Trev.
I watched Fox enter twin mold. I think when I was in going to the second twin mold, and then I finished twin mold, and I got to watch like 4 or 5 minutes of Fox doing twin mold while I was in cutscenes. It was pretty exciting.
Yeah,
and then I don't know what happened during the fight, and I lost a minute in the fight.
I was wondering all along where you were gonna lose the time because your PB was like 9 minutes slower or something like that, but all along your boss fights didn't seem that much longer. You were saving time in the cutscenes, and you were pretty much even the whole time. But then twin mold happens, and you just lose like 5 minutes. So I was like, oh,
Mostly
okay.
twin mold is a lot of time lost.
Yeah.
Well designed fight. I can't I
I don't
associate
know
that
what
fight with
happened
crashes
with
now.
that first boulder that I threw. I still don't know what happened. It somehow missed red twin mold, and then it
Oh, does it still
just
break?
disappeared.
Oh.
That's
Nice.
where I lost time.
Oh. That's no good.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh god, guys.
Whenever I think of the MM3D twin mold fight, I go back to my first time watching that fight in a speedrun was actually when Ben Stevens was doing 100% runs of
Oh boy.
MM3D.
I know where this is going.
He opened the giant smash chest. Apparently, he found out later that it was because he opened it too fast. He killed blue twin mold. He goes to open the chest, and it was too fast, apparently. And the game just crashed. It didn't play the cutscene for red twin mold correctly because something to do with doing something too fast with opening the giant smash chest or advancing the text too fast.
Open the chest, and then he put the mask on before the cutscene played.
Oh yeah. And then the cutscene didn't play properly, and the game just crashed.
Yep.
Yeah, that happens if you equip the mask before the cutscene starts. Then it crashes.
Grezzo, am I right?
Also, shoutouts to the professional train simulator player Ben Stevens 56.
Fox, I panicked when I saw you home buffer a couple times because I just didn't want you to soft lock or anything.
I've never gotten it from a single home buffer. It's from doing it multiple times where it's it's more likely for that to happen. So, yeah. I feel for you there.
Alright guys, it's almost 3:30 AM in the morning, so
The night is young. What are you doing after this?
Sleep.
Incorrect.
No. After the
Wait,
past few days and the rando finals, I'm done. I need a break. I
Breath
need
of
to
the
sing.
Wild 100% run.
I need to sing, but not today. Time for a 100% showcase? Yeah, Jim.
Yeah,
Do it.
every 3D Zelda back to back to back to back to back to back,
We actually have
So
that.
wait,
including
like-
remakes.
We actually have that planned. That's currently in the plans, and we'll start with OT and we go all the way to Breath of the Wild. Actually,
I don't know if that's a
For
good
Hundo?
idea.
Wait, in one day?
if that's not possible, so it will take 2 days. But yeah, all back to back.
Nice.
It's
By one runner?
no, not run,
By-
not one
Well,
runner.
wait, what runner knows all of the the game's hundos? I don't-
not all, not one runner. Several runners,
I don't
but
think
like
anyone does.
like a
I
relay.
don't- I can't imagine anyone.
Like SVA, maybe?
I mean there is like
Yeah, I'm gymnast.
there's like specs and sets. The Breath of the Wild Hundo runner who can do the Wind Waker, TP, Breath of the Wild, and I believe OOT, but he cannot do MM. So he's close, but I don't know. Just let Jim
Yeah,
do it.
I'll teach him, man. Let's go.
Just let Jim do it. I mean, come on. Yeah, but
And Jim could probably learn it. Like, give him like a day's notice, he'll be set to go as long as he knows he needs to.
day's notice.
A day's
A
notice.
day's notice. He's probably set.
Breath of the Wild 100%, which takes more than a day by itself.
He just needs to read the route.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I only need to
Reading the route doesn't take a day.
Yeah, but we'll actually do that like in a relay kind of style. Not a relay race, because finding 2 runners for every single Hondo category is like impossible. But we'll do like all of them back to back at some point. And we'll make it a little charity event, because it will be like a 2-day stream. So, looking into it. We need something
We could
else now
probably
after the OTR tournament is finished.
Probably fit, make a second stream and do Breath of the Wild 100% on one stream and the other 5 on the other stream. And the other 5 will probably finish first.
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, we have a second channel by now, so... By the
I
way,
used to do MM any percent tournaments every year. I'd host them with a sample name underscore, but now that any percent has like 3 runners, that's never gonna happen again.
I was
The
like...
new route actually completely killed the category.
I was like wondering before I went to the Minish Cap community to do an 80% tournament if I could finally do an MM tournament, but like people kept telling me it's dead. Don't even try.
Yeah. Like any percent has like no runners anymore ever since the new route. The old route used to have a bunch of like alternatives to like the main strats that made it accessible for like all sorts of skill levels. But right now it's so much less, like you still have some of that, but it's not nearly as accessible as it used to be. It's much more optimized, it's much harder, it's much more reset heavy. Nobody wants to run it anymore. So yeah, it's not happening. Like me and Sample aren't even gonna try this year unless it changes. There's no point.
So
Like I think there are like 4 or 5 active any percent runners right now. Whereas in the past, before the item recovery and item equip swap whatnot, I think we had a tournament where we had 64 participants.
So, TrevPerson, Majora's Mask, Pokemon Black and White combo randomizer.
What? How would that even work? What are you?
I don't know if we can combine Link to the Past and Super Metroid. We might as well combine these 2. Let's
Very arbitrary, other than the fact that I have run both. I think.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking. All right. Actually, by the way, talking about the all 3D Zelda games 100%, Specs and Stats is actually doing that right now. So he's probably done learning Majora's Mask 100%. Interesting. I'll link it later in the chat if somebody wants to watch. But yeah.
Nice.
I would actually at some point be interested to see perhaps a back-to-back like race of OOT3D and MM3D Hundo, because recently there's been a lot of people running either one or the other, so
I'm interested.
maybe it'll happen at some point.
I'm interested, for sure. We'll probably get Jim to do both for 3 different teams at the same time.
Oh, I didn't mean a relay race. I meant
Oh yeah.
like each runner does both. But
Oh yeah, I
we'll
like
see
it.
if we can. We'll see how many people we can convince to actually do MM3D 100%.
Is it that bad?
It's that bad.
I mean,
Isn't it like
20 minutes of
Bomber's
Bomber's notebook notifications.
alright, guys, don't be mad at me, but I'm really tired, so let's cut it here. Any final words from you? From the new, fresh OT randomizer champion, ATZ?
Not much. I hope everyone enjoyed watching the race. It was definitely really fun to commentate. Congrats to both runners on your runs. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
Trev, Fox, Purple?
No, I think I've said everything I want to say, although I do enjoy the nickname for ATZ. I'm going to refer to him as that now. The new
Please.
fresh OT randomizer champion, ATZ. I have to refer to him like that every time.
That's pretty much like calling a Pasha. Is that a Pasha famous mod from ZFG1's chat? That's pretty much the same. Okay.
I do have one more thing to say.
Sure.
Nerds with Game is Canadian. That's it.
Wait, there's something wrong with being Canadian? Hello?
No, there's something wrong with being Nerds with Game.
Joke.
That's a problem, ATZ.
I mean, doesn't Nerds with Game prefer MM3D?
Yes,
Right
he
there.
does.
Yeah.
He does.
Nah.
Um.
I can't do that while Fox is here.
I mean, I'm still mad at Nerds with Game because he won the Zelda Collector's Edition for GameCube during ZSRM, and he still didn't do a run of the Ocarina of Time GameCube version on it. So I'm still mad because that one is so awful. So he's not keeping it through. Blame Nerds with Game. He's bad. I'm sleepy.
What a Canadian.
Oh god. Yeah, I'm really tired. Alright. Yeah, Jim, you don't know what's best for me. Trev got it. Trev got it.
Yeah, I know what's best for him. That's why I'm keeping him here. Think of how much work you can get done at night if you don't sleep. You could be so productive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm currently trying to become an actual cyborg so I can handle this stuff without sleeping, you know, but it's taking a little time. Also, since Trev is so amazing and just stood up for me, I'm making him a VIP on ZSR.
Oh man!
Look at that diamond. Alright, guys. That's it for today. Thanks everyone for watching.
Can I say one thing?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I got. So yeah, just one more added thing. Just to like actually compare how the games compare, my sum of S is at 251.42. Just so people know. What's your sum of best, Trev?
Some of best for Glitchless?
Uh-huh.
Check, because I got a gold that run. 243.31.
Yeah.
Yeah. That just shows it.
What makes it that much longer?
Mostly twin mold.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Probably half that
That
time
took
is twin mold.
forever. Oh my god, yeah.
And then other than that, it's the extra cycle and slower snowhead are the big other two.
Yorg is also slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. maybe a tad slower.
Alright, let's cut it here, everyone. Thanks for watching. Shoutouts to ATZ and Purple for doing the commentary. GG to Trev and Fox. And we're gonna be back the next few days. And now, if you need more ZSR stuff, go over to ZSR2 because the OTR weekly is currently going on. And yeah, thanks for watching.